demonstration of commitment into the industry that we belong to. I want to welcome Kabisi, Kade Peloriki Batapelese, Kiruke Kudabere. You are welcome, sir. I want to welcome dignitaries that we have invited to this occasion. It's, we will recognize your presence, and we want to thank you immensely because your presence here today is adding to the discourse that we're orchestrating just immediately. Of course, the program of today is celebrating our icons, our distinguished personalities in the built environment. They are people that you can associate with any day, anytime. Please join your hands together to celebrate our distinguished panelists. Today, the program of today was conceived a while ago within the BCPG Koshofe cell, and we're having it. It dovetailed into two occasions. One is for us to celebrate our icons, our amazings in the built environment. And the other aspect of it is for us to discuss and also go into that conversation of how to address the monster that we have in the construction industry as of today, especially the issue of building collapse. And when we are contemplating on what to do, how to go by it, we were looking at the efforts that has gone into it. Celebration, at the same time, discussions that we have on building collapse. Today, the industry is busy discussing issue of building collapse. Recently, at the program of NIA program, Lagos chapter, the major discourse centers on building collapse. And we go round and round within the built environment. It has been the issue of either building collapse or we're talking about infrastructure collapse. So today, while we're celebrating our distinguished panelists, they have gone through, they've gone into the world of men, and they are distinguished. They are well accomplished. We will drink from their wealth of experience in the industry. Today we have, they represent all the 7 built environment professions that we have, and that is wonderful. And I believe that for us that are here at this program, we'll just fasten our beds. We're going to have a very smooth and safe flight into this program. The crux of the matter, building collapse. We have said it that so many issues happens around collapse. And as a matter of fact, collapse is the total consummation of failures. You have failures, oversights, omissions, failures put together, and then the climax of it is the collapse. So before you see a building collapsing, it has undergone various stages. And we, at different fora, we have looked at it that, okay, where do we start? When you're talking about development, where do we start? When you're talking about infrastructure provision, we are talking about, we'll start from geotechnics, design, the actual construction, supervision, and maintenance. It is not therefore It is not therefore not surprising that today we have a strata, a global strata of the industry represented here. We have the government duly represented. We have the legislature arm of government duly represented. We have the professionals duly represented. We have the grassroots. I think we're talking about the traditional. We're having our obas well represented. And also we went into the act of construction itself, of putting things together. We have the artisans well represented, because if we must have zero tolerance for collapse, then it will go through, we will have to go through the entire process. And every section or sector of the industry must be recognized, and we have to come up with do's and don'ts that will help us to put an end to collapse. Virtually every other day or every week, unfortunately, we hear about building collapse across the nation. That is one of the aims of, and if you look at the mission and the aims of BCPG, today we have, I think we're addressing virtually the entire mission of building BCPG, because we want to ensure that we have an advocacy that will address the issue of collapse. Here we are talking to the grassroots. Today we are looking, we're having a discourse around the people that are involved in the act of construction. And I want to believe that there is no other place to be except here. And that is one of the things that we considered in BCPG.
The Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, ably represented by Honorable Tosoji David. All the professional women, the amazing women that we are celebrating today, all professionals duly represented here, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I say good morning. Standing on the existing protocol, I welcome you all to this panel of discussion with the theme, Building Collapse Prevention, Women in the Built Environment Making a Difference. It is an honor to have each one of you here today as we gather to shed light on a topic of great significance and timely relevance. In a rapidly evolving world, the impact of women in every sector cannot be underestimated. Today, we direct our focus to the built environment in Nigeria, recognizing the extraordinary contributions and remarkable potential of women in this realm. We gather here with a shared goal to explore, celebrate, empower women who have left an indelible mark on the built environment and to forge a path towards greater inclusivity and gender equality. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals outline a comprehensive framework aimed at addressing urgent global issues while fostering a future that is both sustainable and equitable. Among these goals, Goal 5 stands out: achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. Gender equality is not just a fundamental human right. It is a catalyst for social, economic progress, a driver of innovation, and a prerequisite for building a just and inclusive society. Nigeria, a nation endowed for its vibrant culture and rich heritage, has witnessed a remarkable transformation in recent years. As the built environment rapidly expands and shapes the landscapes of our cities, it becomes imperative to recognize the indispensable role women have played and continue to play in this process. From architects to engineers, urban planners to quantity surveyors, estate surveyors to land surveyors and builders, and countless other professions, women have shattered barriers, overcome stereotypes, and proven their mentor in an industry traditionally dominated by men. As president of the BCPG, it is necessary for me to state some of the progress that we intend to achieve during the year 2023-24 tenure towards the achievement of the BCG vision. Our 7-point agenda include pursuit of professionalism, ensure compliance to physical planning law and regulation, as well as the National Building Code, construction and building maintenance monitoring, overreach to government and the public in our enlightenment campaign, establishment of more BCGB in states of the Federation, establishment of BCGB arm in secondary school, research and strategy. We know we have achieved some of this agenda in all this. We know we will achieve this agenda with all hands on deck, especially that of the women in the built environment. However, despite the undeniable progress made, we must acknowledge the persisting challenges that hinder the full participation and advancement of women in the built environment. We stand here today with a collective commitment to address this barrier head-on, to foster an environment of equal opportunity, and to create a platform that encourages and empowers women to thrive. This panel of discussion serves as a catalyst for change, providing an exceptional opportunity to engage in meaningful conversation, share experiences, and learn from the remarkable women who have achieved great heights in the built environment. Through enlightening presentation, we aim to challenge preconceptions, redefine norms, and lay the groundwork for a more inclusive future. Together, we aspire to cultivate a society where every woman with a passion for the built environment can break free from the shackles of gender bias and soar to new horizons of success. We firmly believe that by harnessing the collective power of diverse perspectives, talents, and experiences, we can drive innovation, foster sustainable development, and create building environments that truly reflect the needs and aspirations of all, and minimize to the barest minimum building collapse in the country. As we embark on this enlightenment journey, I encourage you all to actively participate, engage in open dialogue, embrace the spirit of collaboration. Let us seize this unique opportunity to bridge gaps, and inspire one another towards a future where women in the built environment not only excel, but lead with passion, compassion, and determination. Once again, I extend my heartfelt welcome to each one of you. Let us embark on this extraordinary panel of discussion with unwavering enthusiasm, and together, let us pave the way for a brighter and more inclusive future for women in the built environment in Nigeria, and thus veritably prevent building collapse in the nation. Thank you.
Seated. The national president and the the representative of the Ministry of Physical Planning, the general managers, and all protocols extended. Please, I'm very sorry I was held up in the traffic. That was why I was a little bit late. I hope everybody will forgive me. It's one of the problems of urban settings. Thank you very much, ma'am. Let me read my welcome address on behalf of the Lagos State Building, on behalf of Lagos State Chapter of Building Collapse Prevention Guild. I sincerely acknowledge the presence of everybody, which I've mentioned, but I must not fail to commend the initiators of this seminar. And with due respect, sirs and ma'am, can we just put our hands together for them? The reason why is this: the Kosofe cell, building collapse cell, is very close to the people, more than our ogas in Alabusa and the governor. They can see what is going on in any place, and what is happening in Kosofe local government is the same thing that will be happening, that is happening in all our 52 cells. And I hope we are in collaboration with all the agencies, so that when they see BCPG, they will accept us the way we are. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
So this is just a tip of the iceberg of what will be happening in all the BCP cells, in all the nooks and crannies of Lagos State. With the BCPG, Lagos State Chapter, have been collaborating with the Lagos State government and its agencies, which I've mentioned. We must still assure you of BCP support in the monitoring and detecting the violators of building laws and regulations of both the LASPA, the Safety Commission, and other agencies. As professionals in the building environment, we continue to be at the forefront of solution-based discussion on issues that affect our building industry in Lagos State and the entire country, because we are three. We have the national, we have the state, and we have ourselves in all the local governments of Nigeria. Let me put it that way, not only in Lagos State. We will continue to tackle this issue faced by the building environment, hereby reflecting how we use our gift to monitor and eradicate collapse in the state, which includes by being good patrons of our country, an ambassador of building prevention, and whistleblower to the government. And you can see my mothers seated on the right. They have been doing a wonderful job despite the age. In fact, when you see them on the side, they are just like teenagers, ensuring that we put an end to building collapse in the country. Thank you very much. Agbanya Dalema. We cannot continue to be passive. Whenever we see something, be rest assured, which I say something. When we see ongoing illegal development without development permit, or that is not carried out in accordance to building codes, laws and regulations guiding the construction of building in Lagos State, we must say something. And when we see ongoing illegal development without development permit, or that is being carried out in accordance to building codes, laws and regulations, and if the construction is not in line with the LASPA and LAPCA, BCPG will surely bring the matter to the knowledge of the appropriate agency and authority. That is why we are saying we are in collaboration with the government agencies. LASPA has reduced its approval processes. They have introduced one thing that is known to be e-planning processes. This will fast track when you submit a drawing before, you don't really know when it will end. But I want to commend the agency. They are doing fantastic work to ensure that they reduce the approval processes. This is just to the advantage of the developers, including myself and you. After which you must obtain your authority to commence construction. That is after you have obtained your development permit from LASPA, you must move to LAPCA and also obtain your authority to commence construction and state certification to qualify you for certificate of habitation for your building and safety of your tenants. You can use it as collateral to secure loan in the bank. Our coming together is for the continued involvement of CDA, the traditional rulers, with our BCP cell leaders to find lasting solutions and to tackle the challenges together, ensuring that our governor can sleep well, because we all know that ìgbéga ìlú Èkó àjùmọ̀ṣe gbogbo wa ni. And I'm telling you, 2 days ago, we all heard what happened in Abuja, and honestly, we in BCPG, we don't sleep. Anytime when we wake up and there is nothing like building collapse, we always give thanks and praises to God. I seize this opportunity to appreciate the organizing committee of this seminar for bringing together the captivation and interactive program of this nature. I congratulate the BCP National President, Tamplana Suleiman Yusuf, the co-founders, the man who has been leading the BCPG. It's not only him, but it is a collective responsibility of all of us, including our mommy. Thank you very much. I'm talking of Builder Kunya Awobodu, the one who I just left here now, and my executive council, keeping the flag of BCPG flying. Finally, the entire members of BCPG Lagos State Chapter heartily welcome you to this program, while appreciating our distinguished, our women mothers who felt concerned the menace, I strongly feel a solution to this eradication building collapse will come today. I wish you all fruitful deliberation. Thanks for listening. Long life BCPG. Long live BCPG Lagos. Long live professional in built environment. Long live Lagos State. Long live Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Represent Badagry Constituency 2. I'm also the chairman of the House Committee. I was the chairman of the House Committee on Africa many years ago, but now the deputy chief whip of the House, because the House was there. I have a remark delivered on behalf of the Right Honourable Speaker, Dr. Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa, who is unavoidably absent. But before I deliver this speech, please permit me to just say one or two things about some eminent people I've met here. So virtually everybody is eminent, one way or the other. But I must commend some great people that have influenced my because I'm also a civil engineer, has influenced me one way or the other. I want to mention Mrs. Ejiwumi, Acted Ejiwumi. She was my teacher, she was my boss, my director in the Ministry of Works, she was my permanent secretary. She is a very great architect, one of the best we have in this country. She has contributed immensely to the development of the building industry. So I acknowledge you, ma'am. Thank you. I also want to mention somebody I saw when I came in, Engineer Victor Oyenuga. He is a great man, my mentor. He's a genius. Unfortunately for us, we don't recognize people in this country. He has contributed immensely to the development of civil engineering in Lagos, in Nigeria. He has written many books that are internationally acknowledged. So I appreciate you, sir, for all your contributions to engineering. And I have also a friend who was former special advisor to the governor, Engineer Mrs. She knows what I'm talking about, please, but I'm sorry to see your name. She's a wonderful engineer too. She was in charge of Ministry of Works. We're all praying that she comes back again, this time not as SA, but as Commissioner for Works. Amen. Amen. So there are several other people here that I know, so I actually appreciate all of you. I also appreciate the KBC. He's an engineer of note. Thank you for coming all the way. And the KBC of this kingdom. We appreciate everybody. At this point, I would like to stand on the already established protocol that was there. Mark to be delivered on behalf of my speaker, the Right Honourable Dr. Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa. It is a great pleasure to be here today as your guest of honor. Permit me to congratulate the headship and distinguished members of the Building Collapse Prevention Guard, which prides itself as an organization with the aim of ensuring safe, functional, and habitable buildings. I further appreciate the organizers for considering the revolution of women who are frontiers and have made their mark in the built environment, a predominantly male-dominated sphere of life. As a legislative arm of government, the Lagos State House of Assembly has never relented and will not relent in making relevant laws to empower and protect women, and as well as encourage them to reach their and attain key leadership positions in their chosen fields, areas of profession. Right from the 8th Assembly, when I assumed office as Speaker, I made sure that at least a female honorable member is appointed as a principal officer. I wish to congratulate the amazings of this day, to encourage them to pass on the baton of professional excellence to other women in their field, so that those coming behind them can build on the achievements already recorded. The House of Assembly has ensured that our environment is protected through the exercise of cognitive oversight functions, which have resulted in the passage of key urban planning laws. The Lagos State Urban and Regional Planning Law was enacted in 2010 because of the important role urban planning plays in addressing challenges of societal growth and development, and for achieving socio-economic, political, and sustainable organization goals. The law was enacted to establish an administrative and technical framework through the creation of certain agencies that will work with the Ministry of Physical Planning to overcome the challenges of over-colonization of infrastructure in predominantly elite area, eradicate corruption and technical deficiencies in the built environment. The essence of the creation of Lagos State Planning Permit Authority, the Lagos State Building Control Agency, and Lagos State Urban Renewal Agency was to establish levels of approvals and ensure proper tackling of the challenges faced in the built industry. Their creation, in the real sense, was to help us have sane urban development strategies for Lagos. In order to achieve a state master plan. Furthermore, House of Assembly has made regulations to guide these agencies in combating challenges that may crop up in the course of their activities. For emphasis, the Lagos State Planning Permit Regulation 2019 and the Lagos State Building Control Agency 2019 were enacted to stem incidences of building collapse in the state and generally regulate activities of building contractors and other stakeholders in the industry. These laws and regulations have not been made in a vacuum, but are to be seen as instruments of guidance, so that, if properly complied with, will stem incidences of building collapse or even totally eradicate such in our state. Lagos State continues to do all it can to curb the menace of building collapse, which is due mostly to stakeholders in the industry cutting corners, especially in obtaining requisite permit for construction. Like I said earlier, if the laws and regulations are followed strictly by stakeholders, we will all be relieved knowing that one of the societal challenges have been trounced. That should be the way to go, not for some elements to create a problem for both the residents and the state, and then turn around to give the impression that the government is insensitive during the implementation of these laws, especially in relation to demolition of buildings constructed with disregard to the laws and regulations. If indeed we are serious and wish to bring the menace of building collapse to an end, there must be effective collaboration between stakeholders in the built industry, the government, the general public, who are key players. As professionals, you must advise your clients appropriately that strict compliance with laws and regulations cannot be circuited. You must ensure that the construction or renovation is done in compliance with building regulations, and that all necessary planning permits and approvals are obtained. There should also be regular site inspections to ensure that the quality of materials used are not compromised. There should further be adequate provision of security at construction sites.
Of the House of Assembly, Honorable Setunji Kabis is here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen here present. I'll start with the phrase that we all know, probably from primary school or secondary school, which says, "What a man can do." How do you complete it? What a man can do. Exactly. On that note, I'd like to Our Masons and mothers, I'd like to celebrate you. I celebrate you for what you've done, the lasting legacies, the impact that you've left over time. Your footprints are large, and we can just thank you. I think they deserve a round of applause. I think we can do better than that. We take to today's thing, which is building collapse prevention, women in the built environment, making a difference. I'll talk about what our role is in the Safety Commission. The Safety Commission was established by the House of Assembly just about 10 years ago to look at all sorts of issues around the safety with regards to safety. Our mandate is to protect lives and to save property. And we do this by preventing accidents across the chain, from construction safety to food safety, to oil and gas safety, to school safety, to food safety. It is extensive. But speaking direct to where we're here today, building collapse. We all know that building collapse happens for so many reasons. Some of them have been stated earlier today. Statistics that we have also states that 2.3 million accidents happen yearly. Workplace accidents happen yearly. And out of these, 30% of them are construction related. So the ILO states that 700,000 accidents happen on construction sites regularly every year. But we need to be able to prevent them, and we need to be able to prevent them by building a culture of safety. And a culture of safety starts from us all taking responsibility. We are all responsible for our safety. The culture of you see it, you speak it. You don't let a bad practice go. And it still comes back to what we're talking about building collapse. And some of the initiatives that the BCPG have started, I commend them. Some of them were earlier stated by the national president. Some of the initiatives that is stated, such as professionalizing, monitoring, establishment of BCPG clubs. I think that's a very laudable idea, making sure that the young ones understand what safety is from their early years. And when they see these incidents, they can immediately escalate them. For safety for us, really, it's very broad. If I start to talk about safety today, I wouldn't finish. But we've identified 4 main reasons why accidents occur, which are rushing. When we are rushing, we're moving very quickly, rushing through the supply chain, rushing through construction, rushing through anything, rushing through a machine, and accidents is likely to happen. The other is fatigue. When you are tired, leave the job. If you are tired on your construction site, as a builder, as an artisan, as a workman, stop work, take a break, and come back. The third is frustration. Frustration we get particularly in this part of the country, Lagos. There are a lot of things that build up frustration naturally in Lagos. One is traffic. So when you're frustrated, please to just take a break, gather yourself, and then get back to work. And the last is complacency. Complacency, I'll speak to it directly because it's something that happens a lot on our construction sites. This is how we've been doing it. They change it. They lose safety helmet. They look guard. But how you've been doing it has been leading to accidents. Why don't you take a break and think of how we can do it in a better way? So, ladies and gentlemen, I commend the BCPG for this laudable initiative. I'm looking forward to the extensive conversations by our Masons, and I'd like to thank you very much for coming. God bless.
And each time we villagers are coming to town, we are always afraid. Waking up at 5 o'clock and heading to Lagos, it's not an easy task. But I thank God that we made it to this place again. I want to thank the organizers, and actually, when I saw the names of the amazing women that has been doing a lot of things in BCPG, virtually all of them we have interacted together during my days as a PRO of Lagos State chapter of the BCPG, and I recognize and I know that they did very well, and they are still doing very well, and they continue to do very well. I want to thank all of you for being there for us these years. We are not paid anything. The women, they have struggled, especially you notice how easy these days. I can tell you when we started, we were using Facebook as our platform. Recording all these things, going about, taking the pictures and reporting rain, sunshine. It wasn't easy, but I thank God that we have maintained our stand, and we are still here today, and I know that we'll continue to be. I want to say something to that is to the women, please. Having addressed amazing women, I've been saying since I've been a king, I've been advocating for the rights of women in my community and the rights of child care. You know, in village, the way we treat women is very horrible. If you know what I'm talking about, it's extremely very bad. 2 months ago, I had a cause to bring out a man married with 4 kids. He treated the woman, he fought with his wife publicly, and I lied him down and I flogged him. And I posted it too on LinkedIn because I've told them that I'm not going to take that in again. Now, to the issue, I have been speaking and I continue to speak. These days, elections doesn't depend on your money. If you look at what happened this last election, I want the women to be coming out, contest, go to your people and make yourself available. Present your case, let them know you. By the time they know you, it's no longer a issue of parties. It is, are you available? And once the people know you, they will vote for you. So I want more women in our state, as a senator, as a House of Rep, even as a governor. You know what happened at that time right now? The woman nearly won, and I don't know what happened really. So if you put yourself together and you make yourself available, and I can assure you that it is no longer I know somebody. No, join a particular party, and people will vote for you. Because I know that the women are doing extremely very well, and that is what the people want to hear and know now. So I thank you. I don't want to take so much of your time. I thank the organizers, and I thank the women. God bless you all.
I studied concrete technology and construction, and it added a lot to the experience that is required for the industry. Anyway, that's by the way. At Lafarge, we do not have, whether you call it a man or a woman, we have competence, we have people of right minds, we have great people, and it's a pleasure for me to stand among great women. Well done. And also great people. Thank you all for giving us this audience. Lafarge is a global organization. We are global leaders in material for construction. We're also global leaders beyond leaders in materials for construction. We're leaders in innovative products. We're leaders in sustainable products for us to have a sustainable environment. It's an honor to be part of this initiative for us to begin to look at issues that borders on why we continue to have building collapse around us. I grew up in the industry. I'm a full part of the artisans. It was the starting of my career. So it made me so relevant in the industry because I understand what it is from the grassroots, from a layman perspective, up to a professional perspective. So here we are in Lafarge, we are material providers, and I'll be speaking to building collapse as it relates material, because material is one of the key factors you want to talk about when you talk about when you talk about building collapse. So I've been able to, I hope you can see what we have on the screen. In recent studies, you would realize that there are 3 major causes why you have building collapse. Please, I want you to navigate so that they can follow along, those who can see. Next. All right, thank you. So, from recent researches, or say in the last decade, what you see as one of the major causes of building collapse, one of which is their structural failures. The other is defective material. Again, the third part of it that I take as crucial is the fact that people do not comply to regulations that are available. The government have done so well to ensure that there are regulations for every part of construction or the built industry for us to comply. So you see that when you talk about building collapse, you cannot take out any of these three. And for us at Lafarge, we're the material industry, we are most relevant when you talk about material, because we produce material. At Lafarge, we produce cement, we produce aggregate, and we equally produce concrete. Concrete is finished products where, of course, there's no construction without concrete today. So, coming to look at it, what is critical when you talk about material? It is essential that in the built industry, we are all aware of what material is right for us to use for construction. Now, talking about raw material, basically for concrete production or for concrete mixes or cement applications, you want to talk about your sand, you want to talk about your aggregates. I mean, in general knowledge, people call it granite. For us, we call it aggregates. Both sand and the coarse fraction, we call them aggregates. So you want to talk about sand, you want to talk about granite, you want to talk about cement, you want to talk about water. And beyond that, because of different applications or different properties that you equally want to talk about admixtures. I think the role of admixtures is so significant when you talk about concrete placing and concrete application. It does a lot to make you have extra properties in concrete. So it is essential for every builder or every civil engineer or every user of raw material to understand what's in it in the material that is relevant to the application of my project. It is important that you know. Talking about aggregates, people go to Lagos State material testing today, they send in their raw material for testing. Do they even understand why they test? Is it just to comply with government regulation that government says you must test? In fact, people go as far as getting results, not even knowing the implication of what they have. Some go ahead and test. They cannot even relate with their result. So it is essential for anybody in the built industry to have knowledge, to know why I am testing, to know when you say you test sieve analysis, as basic as that, why am I testing particle size distribution? It is so essential. It comes to play into your material combination, which best or what in what proportion should you combine your material. You know, you also talk about cement. Cement is common in the market, but you see, in the market we have today, we have different brands of cement, and all of these brands, they have different applications, right? So, for example, at Lafarge, we have what we call our classic brand, which is a 32.5 grade of cement. We equally have what we call our Superset brand, which is a 42.5 grade of cement, as well as our Power Max, which is a technical product, which is equally a 42.5 grade of cement. All of these cement brands, they have different application. You would not use for example, a 32.5 classic for the same proportion as you equally use your 42.5 brand Superset. I tell you, all of this is what you must know for you to have the right mixed proportion that can help you sustain an environment where you are not going to have collapses. Beyond that, please, are you navigating for me, please? So go on. So leave it here, go back here. So what you have here is, I know the board is not as sharp as I expected to be. So it is important that when you even test your material, you test according to certain basic standards that are relevant, not obsolete. Today you see building projects, they will come and give you project specifications that carries 1962 standards that is not applicable to the environment of today. You see people ordering for concrete with a S2 concrete slump. When I mean S2, it's not workable, you cannot pump it, and today you have artisans who want to pour concrete here and they want it moved to the air conditioner. And at such point, you see them adding water on site at the expense of strength. So people need to be aware. They need to know what should be the minimum requirement in terms of raw material, in terms of the blend of your raw material. What should you use to help you to meet up your project expectations? I've been able to highlight some of the requirements. So it is also important that in your project you also have what we call test regime. Test regime is so essential when you have key projects run by key accounts. When I say key accounts, I mean projects by Julius Berger, by Kappa Diabalto, you see that they are so meticulous. They have all that is required to follow when you are building when you have a project that you are working on. So it is important that you have a test regime. Your test regime should be able to identify what are you going to be testing, in what frequency, according to what standard. I've been on projects whereby it is only at the beginning of the project they will sample material for testing, and that is it. The mix you do today is different from the mix you do tomorrow. The material you get today might be different from the material you have tomorrow. So it is essential that you have test regime. Best practice will make you to want to say that at every batch of material I receive, I want to test. And if you do not test at every batch of material, probably because of the rate of your consumption of the material, you want to say, if I have a common source of my raw material, I want to test maybe on monthly or quarterly. You must have something as basic as that, so that you can track the performance of your raw material, you can track the performance of what you have erected. All of these will come to play at every point of audit when your project needs to be audited. And if you cannot make that available, it becomes a challenge for the built industry. Begin to do what is right for us to have a sustainable built environment. Now, again, I said concrete design, very important. Everybody makes concrete today. In fact, the largest concrete mixes is site mix. Site mix, that's where you have the biggest volume of concrete produced today. Everybody wants to mix site. Oh yeah, 1, 2, 4. That is what is common. Somebody called me in a project in Aripo, and he said they have a 2-floor structure, and the owner of the project invited me because he's a friend. I said, please help me look at this. Man said, I want to mix 136. What does it mean? And my first question was, do you have a project requirement? What does your project requirement say? And then when I look at it, it was a grade 25. And then I said, how come? How do you intend to achieve a grade 25 concrete with a 124 mix? You know, the way concrete is specified today in the general market, where site mix is done, we call it nominal mixes. So people only specify their sand, they specify their aggregate, they specify cement. There's no place for water. It is not a balanced mix, which is always difficult. Take it or leave it. A 124 that people generally regard as C20 or C25, some even will say it's a C25. It is actually a C15. It is actually a mix for blinding. It is a weak concrete. Nominal mixes do not have capabilities to produce concrete that are structural. When you talk about structural concrete, I want to refer to building codes. I mean, you want to refer to best practice. You cannot use any grade of concrete that is below 25 for your structural concrete. But today you see people doing 124. They went ahead as they went as far as even doing 112, and they call it grade 30. So what you fail to understand is that by the time you do that proportioning, water is not part of it. You want to achieve a mix that is workable, and you are not even using admixtures. You are using water to downplay the power of strength, because strength is governed by water cement ratio. I don't know how many projects today where you have nominal mixes would balance, do they even understand the concept of water cement ratio? No, they do not. So it is important that we have the right competence. We bring people of the right competence into our project. It is important that the artisans as well are also able to come and bridge the gap of knowledge, right? It is important they are also able to come and bridge the gap. They understand the implications of actions. Structures are meant to stay for over 50 years, right? When you want to assess the durability. Now, water cement ratio is not just the concept of making concrete to flow, but it's a concept, it's a durability concept. And the moment you are unable to achieve the right water cement ratio on your project, it is then your structures cannot stay as long as it is intended. Now, for me to quickly wrap up, design such that you account for extra margin. Why? Because concrete is a high variable product. Variable coming from your aggregate, variable coming from sand, variable coming from people, variable coming from transport. Today in projects where you do nominal mixes, you have headband that is fully bent. You don't even have the right measure. We bring in people who do not even understand the implication of the addition they do. So because of all of this, when you say you are doing a grade 20, you do not just plan to achieve 20. The standard tells us that we must plan to achieve your 20 with a certain margin, which is critical. And your minimum margin should be like a 7 MPa. I mean 7 Newton per millimeter square, so that you can achieve, in worst case, you can still achieve your 20 at the end of the day. Very critical. So again, go to the next.
I really want to just stand on the existing protocol so that we do not take more time, because I know some of these amazing ladies have some appointments. Now, thanks again to Engineer Oyeluga for some of the points that you sent last night for us to deliberate upon. I will just go quickly to the first one, which is to give a very short background about myself. I'm an architect, and I had worked in the private sector. I taught also in the Polytechnic. Then I set up my own practice, and then I worked in the main corps of government, and now I'm back in the private sector. Yes, in the private sector, as an employee, I faced a lot of discrimination from my boss, because he said women are always taking children to the hospital, doing this and that. So he never gave me maternity leave. I used my annual leave for my maternity. And when he was registering my male colleagues in country clubs so that they could bring in jobs, he said, your husband should register you, so I was not registered. But you know, architects, we always work very late, we make submissions late. So sometimes we work in the office and sleep in the office. He wouldn't say, oh, you are a married woman, go home. No. I stayed with my colleagues and worked to get the projects on time. In the private sector, as the CEO of my company, the demands from clients, for me, is different from the demand from my male colleagues. I will leave you to digest that and understand exactly what that meant. But in government, where I worked for 20 years, I never experienced any discrimination. And I worked with 7 governors. The first was Governor Mudashiru of blessed memory. And the last one is our indefatigable president, current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There was no discrimination whatsoever. In fact, Lagos State has many female directors than male directors. So there is no so much discrimination in that area. Now, we talked about the vital role of women in the Nigerian construction industry. I want to remind us that God. Oh, okay. After, all right. Yoruba. Or I will try and okay. You know, God created men and women quite differently. Men are strong physically, muscles. But women are strong emotionally. We are given certain intuition. I will call it the sixth sense. And this is what makes a woman take a step backwards and not rush into taking decisions. You take a second look and pause. Where men will just go ahead and do things and then later on reflect and probably regret. And women, we can also multitask. Our first speaker mentioned that. You work in the office, you go to the sites, Then you look after the home sector. And there's no aspect of the built environment that you don't have women. We have women as conservators, as town planners, as engineers, as surveyors. There's none in all the built environment that do not have women. So when I was in government, the current State House was done by architect Adamakis of blessed memory. We lost her about 2 years ago. When she submitted her drawings, I was the director in Ministry of Welfare. Her drawings were full. She did specifications. She matched the interiors. She matched the wall tiles with the floor tiles. She did the coloring. She gave everything. And I now compared her drawing with some of the drawings submitted by my male colleagues, and I must tell you there was a great difference. So when we do things, in the first instance, in the university, we are probably in the minority. I was the only female in a class of 30. So you have to prove that you can do it. So you go an extra mile to ensure that what you are submitting makes sense. And I want to encourage our female wings of all the professions to go all out and take an aspect of building collapse. All the professional bodies have the female wings. I think there is APEN, there's a Female Architects of Nigeria, the Council, all of us. And I know that the main bodies, the national bodies, are meeting, they are collaborating to see how they can effectively impact the built environment. I want to challenge the female wings of these professional bodies to go out for one thing. We need to come together and go out for one thing. Let us say the Standard Organization of Nigeria, for instance. If that is what we want to focus, let's focus on that and concentrating on ensuring that the materials that are used on sites are up to standard. Because apart from the workmanship, the materials also play a very crucial role in preventing collapse of buildings. If the reinforcements are bad, if the aggregates are bad, if the sand is salty or has a lot of shells and so on and so forth. So I don't know who is going to take this up. We'll probably, BCPG will probably have to take that up and work with the various chairmen of the female wing of the professional body, so that we as women, we have the capability and we have the capacity. When Female Architects was formed, I started the Female Architects to the glory of God. We went to Turkey, we presented something. The national body did not present anything. They now said, so you Female Architects, you want to outshine us. So they quickly covered, they took what we are presenting, and that was what. So we have the capacity, I can assure you, and I hope we will do something about it. We are also, and you said that other issues that can assist in achieving their objectives of the day. And I know that I want to say that every professional, the third question that you asked us to look at is vital role of women in the Nigerian construction. In view of the current building collapse, how can women assist in reducing the issue to the barest minimum? I want to say at this point that professionalism in preventing building collapse is not gender-based. It's not gender-based. You cannot say a man can build better or a woman can build better. No. What we want to ensure with we women and men alike is to ensure that qualified and competent professionals are engaged for every aspect of the project. We know our roles. We know we start with the surveyor. Without them giving us survey plan, we cannot do anything. Then the architects does the drawings, the structural engineers, mechanical, electrical. Then the quantity surveyors, they give us the quantities, and then the builders ensure that what is happening on site is what the architect has designed. So we all know our roles. But the menace that we need to look into, and that's one of the things that also the female wing should look at, and the current trend, the developers. In the past, when we didn't have so many developers, the collapse was not as much as we have now. And you know, Nigeria, when somebody is doing something and they are saying, so many people are doing it too, and they are making a lot of money, it becomes a bandwagon. Everybody jumps into it. Whether you know what they are doing, whether you are qualified, whether you have any sense whatsoever, you just go into it. And so everybody is now a developer. And the worst bit is that these developers, they don't use professionals. I have had one or two, and I was like, we wanted to develop something in the machine, and I said, wait, you are a developer, okay, but I'm an architect. I will do the drawing. He said, no. We have our own architect. Who is that architect? Not qualified whatsoever. I was on the current committee for the 21 floor collapse. This is current. The the Nigerian government also had another committee. The engineers on that project, they were not current registered. As for the architect, we kept asking, who is the architect? You know, they could not give us any proper name of the architect that designed that. So we need to look into ways of combating the menace of these developers. They are out to make money. They use inferior materials, and before you know it, they are ready to. Okay, sorry, 2 minutes. So that is what we need to do as so nǹkan tá à ń sọ ni wípé gbogbo àwọn iṣẹ́ wa tá à ń ṣe yìí a ti ní àwọn tó ní iṣẹ́ tó ní ipa tó ń kó, àwọn architect, àwọn engineer, àwọn surveyor, gbogbo wa la níṣẹ́ wa, oníkálùkù wa dẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe bó ṣe yẹ ká ṣe. Ìgbà tí a bá ṣe nǹkan tó yẹ ká ṣe, òun la máa ń jẹ́ kí gbogbo àwọn building owó lulẹ̀. Àwọn materials tá à ń lò pàápàá ó jẹ́ nǹkan tó ṣe pàtàkì, torí wípé tí a bá lo materials tó dáa, àwọn artisans ẹ̀yin pàápàá ẹ̀yin náà mọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ pé lè sọ fún ẹni tó níṣẹ́ pé nǹkan tó kó wá yóò dáa, but ẹ̀yin náà mọ̀ pé ìgbà míì nǹkan tó máa rà wá kò ní bójú mu, and from the experience ẹni ó yẹ kẹ́ lè máa sọ fún ọ pé nǹkan tẹ́ kó wá yóò ọ̀gá kò lè jẹ́ kíṣẹ́ yìí lọ dáadáa. Nítorí náà a fẹ́ gbà wá ní ìyànjú pé ká lo àwọn tí wọ́n ti kọ́ iṣẹ́ yìí. Àwọn architect ní kẹ́gbẹ́ láti ya àwòrán, àwọn engineer tó mòye ní kẹ́gbẹ́ láti bá yín ṣe structural drawings, so that wọn kàn ní ṣe nǹkan tó yẹ pé kò bójú mu. Ibi tó yẹ kán lo irin sí kó pọ̀, wọn ò ní lo wọn ò ní kọ́ iye tó yẹ kán lò, àwọn àbáyín máa gé torí pé wọ́n fẹ́ bá yín sí ìgbòho. A fẹ́ bẹ̀ yín ní pé ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe bó ṣe yẹ ká ṣe kó bá lè rí bó ṣe yẹ ká rí. So I want to say, as a builder, to give me just 10 minutes to report this, I think it is so much fun behind the time that I will have needed to do a thorough analysis of myself and the work I've performed so far as a builder till date. I got into the profession of building
by accident. Yes. Because during the time of seeking admissions to universities as at that time, my intention is either to go for chemical engineering or to be a pharmacist. First year, looking for admission, no. Second year, well, I was at the verge of losing interest. I have a very good friend, still my very good friend, at Yaba College of Czech. This year I did my friend, the campus, very much. We've been childhood friends. She was at the College of Tech that time. She said, you are wasting your time. Back from College of Tech, why she one girl no? Why do I the fellow university then? What will I do at College of Tech? I look at, okay, let me apply for civil engineering, and I did. Admission came out, I sent letter for building. My father was enjoying, said, and I don't think I'm losing admission this year again, because I was offered to come and study building. I don't know what it is, and that has not been my intention. My father said, okay, whatever is going to suit you for life is what Allah will bring before you. Whatever it is, go in for that. I was the last to register at that time. I was almost lost the registration period because I was septic and waiting for my other admission, whether my other, the one from Ife as pharmacist, the one from Lagos Unilag as to study chemical engineering. So the last day I had to go for the registration in the afternoon. He said, where have you been? No, well, I said, well, no problem. I've been waiting for money from my father, from the money that they have sent to me a long time ago. Then, good enough, I started the profession of building. The first semester, I must be frank with you, my mind was not at what I was doing. And I got my mark. I said, me? Where am I? I need to sit up and face where I found myself. And I have to assure you, from then till today, I start up and I have been up to the task of where I found myself. So that was then. So try and see the way men deals with women in the forefront. It has not been easy. It started during my secondary school day, Lagos City College. It's like a place that you have so many Igbo girls because the law belongs to the late Dr. Asikwe, then the school belongs to him. And in the hierarchy of going into the classes, the A classes used to be from if you are in position of 1 to 20 something, you be in A class, from to so. So God be the glory, I used to be in that A class. And you can always find like 2-3 girls in the class. So I've been facing bullying ever since then. So when I got to college, we were only 4 in the class, also many boys. The bullying continues. So it wasn't a kind of switch to me. I had pushing effect already. So I was able to face the bullying. And for the head, we refused to face distraction. I hope Mrs. Laja should have been here, the classmate, 4 of us then, in the midst of other boys. And I can assure you, the 2 of us then is always between the 1st and the 6th in the class. So this annoys these boys more. That's, to cut the long story short, we passed out from the school, got into Nigerian School of Building, registered there, start to do the professional exam, start to progress. Along the line, got employment into, even from the College of Tech, we got the employment to work with the consulting engineers. Fine. I did human Bushola and partners. When they showed us, especially myself and Mrs. Laja at that time, seconded to that company because we were doing structural engineering. The structural engineer will come to us, you better drop the building come to structural engineering. You are not better off in that way. Our moderator was saying that as a builder, you have to go through all this. Architecture, structural engineering, POS, and all that. About your blessed Moro, you taught us about casing window, how to take the quantities and all that. We used to just mess up with that. And we realized that we're losing a lot of support. I want to tell you, the house I'm still living in, I designed it myself. It was my project at Lambda College of Technology Guidance. The architect, our architectural lecturer said, design your dream house, and that was my project. And it's this dream house that I rebuilt, and we're still in there till today. That has been it in the concept of my studies, and for my and additional partners. I got married, all this solar below from Olorunsogo Mission to Florida Island, waking up by 4, joining bus, coming late and all that. I said, I can't go much about this. My uncle advised I joined Lagos State Development and Property Corporation. I was accepted. Later on, I did. When I joined, my first port of call, I HR. By the time I got there, I was told you're a builder. What you study building? What do you want to come and do here? I started explaining. To cut the long story short, I was asked to do the estate department. The person did the estate department that time, because my estate management, because I scored something like that. Madam said it would be useful for me. I need somebody to, and it was the heat of the time of the low-cost during the Jaconde. The Jaconde is collect houses, hand over to LBIC. They just gave that assignment to me now. How do I do this? So I will start to go all through the houses to ensure that they were built well before we handed over the so much to LBIC. I did that when I was not satisfied. I was just want to be in construction. I want to be actually on site. I was posted to construction sites. I want to tell you, the low cost, the medium cost, the divisions of Lagos, I have worked and constructed houses, supervised houses, over 1,000 houses, all over divisions of Lagos State. Name it, during the process of 23 years, before I finally became the head of department and at Lagos State, the same LSDPC. So if you start in LSDPC, you are starting on a good road. You are starting from somewhere very great environment professionals, because it's a place to be and to develop yourself. It's really whatever what we faced initially, they developed us along the line. And like my colleague said, I faced it in my marriage life. The issue of collecting whatever you have to do, your house, your husband, your work, your here and there and all that, was enormous for women. But thank God we're able to scale through. At the same time, we're able to go through what we need to go. I have 2 minutes to go. The vital role of women in Nigerian construction industry, the gender inclusiveness is there. You have a role to play. I've mentioned it in my sense of statements. And in view of this building collapse, when one says, and that is why I'm deeply into building collapse and prevention bills, just to say that we don't want collapses. We are fed up of this. It's an insult on our person, it's an insult on our conscience, it's an insult on this environment. We have the crops of all of us that are there, and we are still expressing building collapses. And I must tell you, and I must let our brother politicians know that majority of this is in their hands and the government. We should just sit down to mean business and stop everything. That's done. 2 hours to achieve something. God so bless us that you will use 1 hour to achieve that thing. Because there are other hours that you are using to do other things back at home that they are not there. Whatever it takes, I will still see my husband sitting in the sitting room waiting for me to come and put things on his plate. And I see, before I get to sit inside, kitchen is always my first port of call. and it has always been like that till today. So please, it's not too much. There's nothing that is too much. We've all here passed through it, and you can do it. You can achieve it better than you have done. So many things to help you now that you didn't have that opportunity at that time, at that point in time. So then I want to tell you, there are 3 C's that we need to look at: the corruption, the compromising, and the compliance. Which one do you want to do? Compliance. No corruption, no compromising. We are promising. It's a deal. Thank you very much. Pásọ̀ Yorùbá ẹ má dùn. Àwọn màámi kan tẹ̀ ní bóyá àwọn àlè sọ Yorùbá wọ́n ṣì gbẹ́ta mi wọ́n ní sọ díẹ̀ kọ́nà tó tún wá. Nǹkan sọ ni wípé ẹ̀yin bàbá wa tẹ̀ wà ní kéèjì tẹ̀ ń kọ́lé ẹ̀yin lọ́rọ́ kàn jù ẹ jọ. Bàbá ní ká meet even up till today. Ẹ wo méjì yìí ti dá báyìí ó ti lọ́ra tó ó ti lómi tó a máa ń jà ní. If you don't get the right workability, you can't get the right compassion and you can't get the right commitment. That is just it. It's not an BSc. Nǹkan tá a bá fi síbẹ̀. It's like a computer. Building is like a computer. Damage in, garbage out. It's what you feed in that you get back. Tẹ́wọ́tẹ̀ manager tí ò wò 10-15 years you get what you did there. There are some houses that are up to 100 in Lagos 100 years ago. They are still standing. Please ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká mójútó nǹkan tá à ń ṣe. Owó máa dé àpò wa. It's bad to be very wise and professional foolish. You be professional foolish if you don't do the right thing the way you want to do it at the right time. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wo ẹ̀mí tó ń ṣòfò. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wo owó tó ń ṣòfò. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe dáadáa bó ṣe yẹ ká ṣe. Bóyá àṣàǹgòsàn àtúrí bẹ́ẹ̀ sọ ẹ ṣe púpọ̀.
Engineer Yunuga, he said it. He already let the cat out of the bag. We were neighbors as far back as 88 in Penn Cinema. My children grew up together, so my 2 boys. But let me say for a day like this, auspicious one, I must give glory to God and then next to my father, my late dad, because it's all tomorrow. Today is a little bit, everybody talks about the SDG 5, about gender equality, about women, but this was my father who never saw the 4 walls of a school, who knew what exactly it was to train the girl child. I come from a sibling of 9 children. I'll give you my background story so that would answer most of the questions that I would say here today. So I come from a family of 9, 6 of my siblings, and then of course my parents. My dad is late. Of the six of us, the first 3 are medical doctors, and then the next 2 are all engineers. 3 next they are engineers, and my last brother is a banker. My dad never saw the 4 walls of a school, but I will tell you that it's simple. The mother was rich, she was a businesswoman, she had the old Kingsway building, but she said, sickle cell. She said, I don't want any teacher to beat my child. This is the only surviving one that I have. No teacher will beat this one. This one that has lived, let the teacher come and teach him. And so my dad knew the importance of education. He trained himself. But one thing that he said was, and he vowed that my children, I must make sure that I train my children, particularly girl child. My first sister she's a retired permanent secretary. She's also the chairman of the Health Service Commission. And so also my other sisters who are all surgeons. But that was the beauty of education. And so, with that determination, he sent us all to the best of schools that he could afford. I grew up, I went to private school, and then of course I attended secondary school just like any other person. I grew up in the neighborhood like any other person. But I had a determined father who wanted the children to succeed. He had a friend who was a pot manager, late engineer who built the Papa Pots. I looked up onto him as a mentor. And any time that I saw him, I always saw myself as an engineer. So there was a determination, there was a propelling force in me. I knew what I wanted. Growing up, Mrs. Oshiemi, the chairman, past president, ICANN, used to live on the same street with us, next house to my parents' house in Bode Thomas. And every time she would tell Papa Nimasha, your daughter can be she can be a chartered accountant, and will come, because I was very numerate, I was very good in sciences in school. I was the best female candidate in JAM when I did JAM in 1982. I had a score of 321. It's not these days that you manipulate results. So it was a true result. And so she would come that your daughter can do this. I said, no, I want to be an engineer, I don't want to be an accountant, because I wanted to be able to design, see what exactly I'm doing, and then be able to say, this is the work of my hand. And so that propelled me going to university. Yes, in a class of 5, in engineering, at that time, it was not a discipline that was known for women to do. And so when you say you want to do engineering, this was me. There was an innate passion that this is what I wanted. But one thing I always tell people, men are, so that it's called SARS, I call it SARS. They size you up, they assess you, and of course, if you do well, they begin to respect you. It's called SARS. Anytime that you see men, it's a bias. It's a bias that exists everywhere. And so once they see that, yes, indeed, this person has, she has something up her sleeves. She understands what he or she is doing. They begin to, from that assessing, and then from the sizing and the assessing, they begin to drop their hearts for you to say, yes, this one sure knows what to. So I always tell people, I encourage people, in a male-dominated environment, that bias will always be there. I worked for Julius Bader for 32 years before I came into public service. I was the first female engineer that they will employ that would stay, because the ones that they were employing, once they go on maternity leave, they will never come back. It takes a lot of determination for you to have to go out 7 o'clock, to go out at 6 a.m. Those days in Lagos, leave home at 6, and then return, close at 6, and get home by 7 or 8, and train your children, and then they turn out to be good and useful, and it indeed takes a lot. But of course, I thank God, because I have a very understanding husband. My husband is the current deputy president of NIST. So in October, he assumed leadership of the national body of NIST. So I had somebody who was very supportive. That support from the home front was there. But in all of this, what I always tell people is, the years of training, each time that I go on all of the roads, on almost of the infrastructure, either buildings or infrastructure, and even some industrial in Lagos, and I see footprints, I'm able to see there's an innate feeling in you that makes you happy. It makes you happy. I tell people, in life, engineering is about a 3 growth phase. There's a learning stage, there's a growth phase, and there's a consolidation phase. You need to be able to study, you need to be able to develop yourself. If you cannot give what you don't have. For you to be an authority in the field where you are, and you want to tell people this is what you must do, you must be grounded. There are no shortcuts to it. The challenge is that these days, people do not want to be grounded, and then they want to be able to say, they want to be able to advise. No, if you're not grounded, you cannot give what you don't have. And so my simple summary today that I will tell people is, in all of the things that you do, make sure for a woman, for you not to be looked down upon, for you not to be arrogated as to say, who are these ones, what are they doing here? Make sure you are really grounded, competence-wise, capacity-wise. It's not an accident that you work for somewhere for 32 years, you're on the field. And then you come into public service, and then they tell you to come and be a special advisor, works and infrastructure. You have no closing time. So initially, and that's the first time in the history of the state, since 1967, that they will have a female as a special advisor in that ministry. Either as a special advisor or either as a commissioner for works, because it's assumed that it's a tedious post and that you will not be able to cope. In fact, most people do not even give me a chance to be able to succeed. But gradually they began to see that it looks like this one is rugged. It looks like this one can do it too. And then I tell people, I said, it's because you do not know where I'm coming from. If you know it, even the Germans, if you're trained by the Germans, you will understand what exactly it is that makes you the way you are. So there is an innate, you are built to be tough, to be rugged. The Germans will tell you if it's that area that is on that side, you can be sure it is done. There is no need, there is no need to have another person supporting or overlooking her. That she can be a little bit stubborn and heady, but she definitely knows what she's doing. And so that tells you the kind of, I had to say all of this so that you understand where I'm coming from, the kind of father who I had, what propels me to do what I do, and then into my professional life. I've had in the course of the last 35 years, I haven't done anything else except engineering. Engineering, and then of course we did web arbitration. Each time, the first time I would walk in Julius Bader, there was one, the German, he actually was saucy, he was rude. He was like, this one, that's whether she's going to stay. But she's going on that bridge deck. Okay, the design. So design-wise, he was not surprised because I did beautifully well. But when he came to the field, going to the field, having to go on the bridge, on Ferdinand Bridge, over the water. It's like, maybe she will soon retire, she will tell you that. But it wasn't so. And so I trucked on for 32 years, and I made a success out of that job. It was very. On the coming to the government side, like I said, people didn't give me a chance. But God was with me. God was with me in the sense that I told myself, you cannot afford to fail. You cannot afford to fail. Nobody has ever gone on this route. In the history of this state is 56 years old. In 56 years, if they have not had any person as a female sit there, if you sit there, you must be able to open and pave the way for others to come. And so from day one, you must be deliberate, you must be intentional, you must learn to leave a legacy. And so one of the first set of things that we will do is to say, why is it that all of the infrastructure that we have here keeps collapsing? What exactly is the issue with the roads? Why are they not durable? And so we began to look at all of the things, putting in place the structures, having standard operating procedures for people, engineers to know this is exactly how you must build a road from beginning to the end. Quality assurance. The reason why we have challenges is because when integrity is missing, other things begin to follow. But I tell you, once you are purposeful, you have your integrity in place, and you are determined to work excellently well, you have passion for what you are doing, there is no way you not make success out of it. And so my challenge, my advice to young ones coming, you are not a leader until you are able to replicate yourself. So you cannot be the only shining star. There are several shining stars, and I tried to encourage. I said, but you must put in all of the hard work. You must be determined that you will make success out of it. I've seen Akiba go here. I think she's gone. I'm seeing Madam Lola here several times in my office. 11 p.m., 11:30. Until work is closed, then there is no closing date. Well, I'm glad I have grown up children. My boys are 31 and 33. They grew up with Ebenezer and the children of Enyo Yunuga. So it's not so. I'm waiting to be a grandma by the grace of God. But it's indeed the balls, yes, family life and work balance. It's clear. Madam Assam Planner George has said it all. You need to be able to balance the home front, because at the end of the day, work is going to end. You are going to return back to that home when all of this is over. So if you have not been careful, deliberate and to build your home, you'll of course go back to an empty house. And may that not be a portion for as many women that are looking up to us as mentors. And so, on that note, I will try to speak Yoruba. For the purpose of building Collapse Build, I keep telling people, if you work professionally, if you're a woman of integrity, and you are ready to work excellently well, the good thing about the built environment is that you have all of your structural engineers, your designers. Once you have the production manager, their roles are clearly defined. They know exactly what it is. I tell people, BCPG, the good thing about BCPG is it's all encompassing. The reason why we have not succeeded in all of this for a long time is because every professional body is struggling. Everybody is struggling with each other. What BCPG has done is to try to get everybody into one boat, and then let everybody be able to offer their own expertise in their chosen area of work. I think that for me was the starting point. And then what government is doing with the Certified Accredited Program, on the level, I encourage as many one of you to go, Ministry of Fiscal Planning. That's the final phase of what we're trying to push out so that we can begin to work professionally and get things better. Màá sọ èdè ní èdè abínibí fún àwọn mo kàn fẹ́ dúpẹ́, because I remember in the course ní ìwọ̀nba díẹ̀ ẹ̀yìn sẹ́yìn, àwọn bricklayer association, àwọn tọ́mọ block lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ẹ ṣe àwọn àṣeṣe ẹ̀ kan tẹ̀wá fún mi ní àwọn plaque, tẹ̀wá fún mi ní award. Màá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín. But this also is another opportunity also to be able to push out láti lè sọ fún yín pé ṣẹ́rí tí a bá sì ń ṣe nǹkan tá à ń ṣe bá a ṣe ń ṣe èèyàn bí bó bá ṣe rí inú fọ́tò ló ṣe máa yára mi o pé tó ń sọ pé ní dàwódàwó yìí tá a bá máa wò ó kòkòrò tó ń jẹ́ àfààní ẹ̀fọ́ ló wà o. Nígbà tá a bá ti sọ pé gbogbo kìíní ìwà pálapàla yìí a máa fílẹ̀ a máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣe bó ṣe yẹ kó jẹ́ téèyàn ò bá mọ̀ nǹkan tó kàn rán ṣe pé báyìí mo ṣe ti ń ṣe kò mọ nǹkan tóun ṣe ìdí ẹ̀ tó ṣe ń ṣe ìdí ẹ̀ la ṣe gbọ́dọ̀ lọ àwọn tó wá lè ní ìkan sọ fún yín láti dàfáàjì pé eléyìí tó máa ní kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ pọ̀ báyìí kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ bá ti mú pọ̀npọ̀n kọ̀kẹ́dà mọ́ báyìí ìdí ẹ̀ kí ni nǹkan ta fẹ́ ṣe gan kí ló ta ṣe fẹ́ ṣe báyìí báwo náà ṣe ní ká ṣe díẹ̀ kí náà tó ṣe ní ká ṣe ẹ máa gbọ́ràn ẹ má máa fojú di àwọn obìnrin tàbá rí àwọn obìnrin ẹ má mọ̀ pé ṣègbè mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sílé eléyìí ju mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sílé ọ̀tọ̀ nípa tó wà lórí ẹ̀ gan ó lè ju olùkọ́ tó yẹ kó gbé sílé lọ́wà ẹ má máa fojú yẹn tẹ́mẹ́lẹ̀ wọn tó àwọn tó tàbá rí àwọn tó dà gbé wọ́n mọ tó ń ṣe ẹ máa fún wọn lọ́wọ́ ẹ máa fọwọ́ yẹn wọ̀ wọ́n. I think on that note, I would summarize by saying every woman is built to be purposeful, to be multitasking, and to work excellently well. Thank you.
Of a background, I want to also say my husband is Yoruba, but I don't speak Yoruba very well. So I would beg that I use PG when it comes to that. Is that okay? Please, may I? Okay, thank you. She talked a lot about her dad, and I wanted to actually jump out of where I was sitting. I come from a polygamous home. My father married so many women, and I'm the fifth child of 24 children. Now, I need to put this in perspective so that you can understand where I'm coming from. In my house, my father was an engineer. He died 5 years ago. He was trained in Germany, so I also resonate with that. And my father didn't know who was a boy or a girl. It didn't mean anything in my house. But coming from a polygamous home, I learned to compete very early. Because you compete for everything, especially your father's favor. So if your mother was not in his books, sorry. Anyway, and I lived in a house where my mother was not there. So I lived with my stepmothers. I was the only child of my mom who agreed to live with my father. So you can imagine, I went to secondary school at 9 years old, Federal Government Girls College, Yola. And when I was 11, I ran away from my mom to go and live with my dad because I wanted to stay with my father. I was born in Warri, but I grew up in Port Harcourt. Now, coming to a house, coming from a home where you had your mom, your grandma, a very loving place, to a house where you have to mind what you say, and say it in a way you don't get into trouble. And I'd left my mother, shame would not allow me to go back and tell her I made a mistake. So I stuck it out. So by 12 years old, I was cooking for the whole house. The politics had started. And I came from a home where my mother was a caterer. So I cooked all my life, and that's all I know how to do. So I said to me, if I'm not an estate surveyor, I'll be a cook. Now, I was quite smart, but very stubborn. And I was very tiny. I have some of my secondary school people here. So because I was coming from a home where I always stood up for myself, I was never going to take no for an answer. And I didn't know the word can't. What is can't? Is somebody not doing it? Do they have two heads? So why can't I do it? So that's how I always approached everything. That I could do it. If a boy could do it, I could do better. And I always tried to prove that I could do better. It always gets you into trouble though. But I think eventually they learn to respect you, like she rightly said. Now I wanted to be a doctor. And I wanted to be a veterinary doctor. So you must put this in perspective. In 1980 to 85, you didn't want to be a veterinary doctor. You wanted to be a proper doctor. But I liked animals. So I got admission to University of Ibadan to do veterinary medicine. Those days that JAM used to send letters home. And I got it when I was in secondary school. And I got to my father and said, never. Dog. Goat. Who will employ you? Where will you work? He said, it's okay, you talk too much, so you must be a lawyer. I had finished just doing sciences now. So my father said, you stay at home until you get the papers to start law. So I came back home and I started doing GC at home to start doing literature, history. Anyway, the first year, I told you I had admission, yes? So the first year, I was at home. But what my father did, my father had an equipment leasing company. So I was working with him. There's no equipment I can operate. I drive trailers, tippers, D6, and a lot of other equipment, because that's why I grew up. And you say, it's okay, get on that truck and you will drive it. What a man can do, you can do it. So I started 16. Anyway, I started stealing my father's car first to drive.
And then when he caught me, now made sure I was now doing it properly. So the first year, I was supposed to do law in University of Calabar. I got 268, and they were taking 280. And my father, being a typical Benin man, said, I cannot beg for you. You should have made 290. So he told me, go to Calabar and go and try. As a 16-year-old, I went to Calabar myself. I'd never traveled, apart from going to Yola, which was structured, I'd never gone on my own. So I went to Calabar for the first time, and I got my first baptism, which is this mark of Okada, Akaoke as it was called. I got there and they said, your father has to come. So the dean, so if your father can come, by the second batch will take you. So I went back home, my father said, I'm sorry, I can't beg for you, you will wait next year. So I stayed home. Of course, I'm at home, I'm working in his office. I'm not really concerned, you know how it is. Meanwhile, it's a polygamous home. Everybody's waiting for me to fail, so they can, there's huge competition. The next year I go to 45. Because it's reducing balance. Not that I was not smart enough, but I was no longer in a structured environment. And I couldn't do this thing. I don't even have my mom to help me. My mom was living abroad. And so there I was. So I was frustrated. By the third year, this is 87, my mates are in year 3. I'm at home. So one day I got up. My father's friend was the VC of River State University of Science and Technology, Professor Ayaso. So I got up that morning and I went to his office and I sat down. And he saw me, said, it's okay, what are you doing? He the other saying, I said, no, I want to see you. So I said, okay, wait, I waited. And then I went in and I said, look, this is my results. This is my work. I've been doing this for a couple of years. Please, I need to go to school. I can't. So he said to me, but you pass. I said, my father said, if it's not law, I will not go to school. So he said to me, can you do estate management? I said, will you give me a degree? He said, yes. I said, yes. So I didn't know what it meant. I did not know anything. So I would say that construction found me. And it was what God wanted for me. That's why I ended up here. So I got to a class full of men. There were very few ladies in my class. And they started teaching us. I remember my architecture class, they drove me severally. I could never draw. I didn't know what was perspective. And the teacher said to me, it's okay, you were sitting here, how did you see that? I said, ma, that's what I saw. So what am I saying? I put in the time. I studied hard. And I made it. I was the first graduate of my father. And I was the 5th child. I'm coming from a home where my father had a master's degree in mechanical engineering. It was a shame because all my siblings older than me had been sent abroad and nobody came back with anything. So my graduation was a celebration, the whole family. Stepmothers, enemies, friends were there. So that's my story. That's a background. I'm married to a Yoruba man. I have 5 children. The oldest is 24 and the youngest is 8. I'm a full-time mother. I'm a full-time cook. I'm a full-time... That can be possible. I've just started talking. Anyway, I'll be quick now. So I've done everything. I've worked in the United Kingdom. I've worked here. I've worked in construction. I've done everything. But what I know is this. If you strive for excellence, you will make it. You must be known for something. If you are not known for something as a woman, you'll be taken for anything. Because when they look at you first, they feel you got it because of who you are or who you are staying with. So when you go to the site, they look at you anyhow, first of all. But when they know you know your stuff, they start to respect you. I'm the first female commissioner of fiscal planning in Edo State. And people ask, was this ministry in existence before? And I'm now I've been reappointed for the 2nd time. On 13th of June last month. And people actually prayed for me not to come back. They went to native doctors. Yes, of course. They prayed that I should not come. They've brought medicine to my office. They've done FPGs. They've killed cows for me. So so that I can fall down and die. I'm not dying. I'm not going anywhere. The truth is, the built environment, the chastity of it must be upheld, whether you like it or not. If you keep saying the same thing, they tend to listen. One of the things we've done is to put in processes, procedures, and make the right people in the right places. This is the first time in Edo State where the whole built environment, we meet, we talk, and we share the jobs according to your area. A builder, we now have a building control law. The office is led by a builder. It has never happened in Edo State. So we've done a lot of things that have never been done before. We've won awards in Edo now. People, we never even used to have people do approvals. What they do is they come and pay. Once they pay, they go and build. But now they know they cannot do it. So things are changing. You know that is a bad behavior learned over a very long time. So it's not going to happen overnight. But we have to stay the course. For the sake of posterity and the sake of the future, we will be held responsible. When these things happen, when people die, we are responsible. And it's important we know that. So please, learn to strive for integrity. Stay the course. No, it is hard because I work Monday to Sunday. I run 3 homes. My children live in the UK with my husband. I have a home in Abuja and I have a home in Benin. I wake up at 4 so I can talk to them, go on video call, look at them, check their hair. I've done that since I came back in 2008. I cook the food my children eat in London. So I go to London, I cook, put it in the freezer. If you go to my house, you can eat anything you want. I make sure I can travel, just go to their events, make sure I'm there. You have to be a mother, you have to be humble. It's very difficult for you to hold a high post and not forget who you are. You can come out as pompous, proud, rude. You have to remember that you are a woman and you keep your home. You make the home. You have to remember that your children need you. You have to remember that your husband needs you. You have to remember that your parents need you. And you have to remember that friends also need you. And then your society and government needs you. I've worked in both private sector and government. The government it turns a bit slower. And I'm always in a hurry to go somewhere. So what you've done is, once you show your excellence, even the governor starts to understand that this thing is important and we have to do it. And so that is what has really helped me. Just staying the course and just making sure that whatever you can do, I will be there. So if we have to, we've built a house in 7 days in Benin, and we've maintained the quality and the standards. If you keep to the standard, the quality, make sure people are trained and hold people responsible. Artisans in Benin now, if you go to a site, you will ask the artisans have to ask for the approval. No approval, we will arrest you. You artisan, we will arrest you. They will take you for the engineering training. Because everybody is important. You do the design, you go, you're not there all the time. Somebody has to be there all the time. And that person has to be held responsible to understand that you have to do things properly. So it's a lot of work where we can do this thing. We really can. But everybody in the built environment hold a duty of care to our environment and to the land so that we don't get judged to do things properly. We are not there yet, but we will get there. We are not where we started. So I'm proud to be here. Thank you very much. Can I pick up?
To mechanical engineering, and the name was KG. So I'm getting to the interview panel. They said, "You are a woman." Sorry, because in Yoruba land, KG can be a man or a woman. Oh, you are a woman. Sorry, we don't take woman in this department. Oh, yeah, quickly go to civil. Civil is on the top floor. Quickly, before they finish the admission. And he ended up, doing the ND with us and joined your profession. After the ND, she went to OAU and read the estate management. Then in 1979-80, when I joined Unilag as a penultimate year, after my HND, that was the first time you had the first woman to be engaged, to be admitted as a mechanical engineering, student. So for us now to have a surveyor, not only a fellow, but even the whole rector, that's a serious matter. It's a serious matter. Madam, you are welcome, and we are glad to have you.
Thanks so
all
much.
The way from Oyo. Yes, so they are one of the Alaafin. The new one come.
Ó gbọ́dọ̀ náà. Ọba bẹ láàfin. Ọba lọ sínú àjà ni. So àfin ṣì wà fẹ̀. Aláàfin Lámídì ló lọ. Aláàfin Dẹ́ndẹ́. Thank you, the moderator. Mojúbà gbogbo orí adé tó wà níbí báyìí. Ẹ ṣé. Thank you so much. Dúpẹ́ Níyìnlọ́lá, that means Ọ̀yọ́lọ́lá wà. Níyìnlọ́lá Àríwá, that's the full meaning of the name. It's Níyìnlọ́lá Àríwá, Ọ̀yọ́lọ́lá wà. Ọláyínká Aya Dòsùnmú. Dòsùnmú ti ìlú Àdìsá, kábíyèsí ti gbà fẹ́ẹ̀sì. Nílé wa. I've learned a lot from the 4 panelists here, my mommies. And it's like my life, the background touched every bit of what they've said. But I'm fortunate. You know why I'm fortunate? Federal School of Surveying, then Federal Survey School, Oyo, was 5 minutes away from my father's house. So why people chose the course, they are, by accident. Mine was in 1976. I wanted to be a surveyor right from primary 1 at St. Andrew's Primary School, Oyo, now Ajani Crowther University. Some of the students of Federal Survey School, Oyo, came to do practicals in my school, and they brought theodolites. And we used to sing and follow them. So as a primary 1 pupil in 1976, we all danced. I still remember the song. Surveyors Agbepo. So, and I tried to, what do they do? As a child. And I learned that their instrument, that theodolite, is used to see beyond what any man can see. And they used to scare us away. That once they point that theodolite at us, what they're going to see is our inside. So I said that would be fantastic. So I turn the theodolite and see everyone. So that is the job I would love to do. So if I can see everybody, to make So I made up my mind it was going to be surveying. And in 1987, after leaving my first JAMB was BSc Surveying, University of Lagos. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the admission. So that was my first time in Lagos. And Faculty of Engineering, we have this what we call copycat mode, where we use a copy on time. So I got there and saw that the line was ruled right where my name was. So which way forward? And I also came from the polygamous house. My father had 9 wives. Yes. And over 20 children. I'm the 9th born and the first born of my mother. And my mom, of blessed memory, was the 5th wife. So, it's if your mother, and he retired as a teacher, went to St. Luke's College, Molete in Ibadan. Well, but my father was never a teacher. He had this their grade, grade 1, grade 2 or so. So he became a teacher, very handsome, elegant man, and he spoke English perfect. Because he grew up with the Oyinbos, these missionaries inside St. Andrew's College, Boys College there, Sako. And, very fluent, a ladies' man. He was a ladies' man. And then we were so many. And we lived, Oyo, we lived with the cousins. We were over 40 children in the house. But, as a man, it will get to a stage where you are on your own. Then if your mother, and my mom left when I was 6, so my story was, so it's the survivor of the fittest. But I wasn't bothered. After my O-levels in 1987, he said, Lola, you are too stubborn. You can't even stay at home. And fortunately, I had 8 credits at a city, 1987 WAEC. So, okay, go to Olivet Baptist High School and do your A-levels there. So I went to Olivet with the hope of doing physics, geography, and mathematics, so that I could do surveying as at the university. Unfortunately, I did not do further maths. If I instead of further maths, I chose Yoruba and had A1 in Yoruba, being an Oyo girl, born bred in Oyo. And I told them I could do every bit of further maths. I knew it. That was it. But because we had issues, somebody copied me. And the lecturer, the teacher knew that they copied me. Said, I'm not going to score you for further maths, and because of that, I dropped it towards WAEC. So I knew it. So I ended up with agric economics. I couldn't do agric economics at A-levels, but I finished it at Olivet Baptist High School, 88, 89. We were the last set of our A-levels before we moved to SS3. After A-levels, I went back. You know, the idea of life is we need information to survive in our environment. It is pertinent and it's key. Survey school lawyer was there, but in the town, we believe that school was meant only for staff of federal service, federal agencies, and government only. Until after my A-level, somebody just said, don't you have uncles that are surveyors? I said, okay, even we don't have surveyors. We have people that have lands and can get the surveyors for me. So fortunately, somebody was ready to sponsor me, and I went for my ND, National Diploma. I never bothered to try university. That was just once, but that would be the first exam in my life that I would do, and I would not be admitted. So I had to go through the full HND in Federal School of Surveying in New York, and I had distinction from that school. We were only 2 females, but I beat all the men hands down. With the other lady, we encourage each other. 2 out of 60 students. Yeah, Federal School of Surveying. In fact, we were only 3 as at the time, both ND, HND, and PGD. Only 3 of us. Myself, the 3rd woman, then is now the chairman of all chairmen of Nigerian Institution of Surveyors branches throughout the country. So Mrs. Elaine Fakori, DFNIS. I'm just saying this. It's a passion. Then after HND, I had to go back to the University of Lagos. But during all this, I never knew that my father never had interest in a girl child education. As a teacher, I went to the University of Lagos and I had to sponsor myself. But that is the beauty of technological education. Because of the fact that I could handle instruments in DHND, I did the survey of Kosofe, water, the old water pipeline in this local government. I did the setting out, yes, of all the water, so done by World Bank. Every fire hydrant that you see in this local government was set out by this lady as a student, 400 level student of the University of Lagos. And I had to sponsor myself. Fortunately, I graduated in first class, best overall student in 1998 from the University of Lagos. I traveled, had my baby, the first one which I lost, and then after taking in again, I know they said Odima, and I said, what is that? I ran back home to Nigeria so they could look after me, and I had my first daughter after that time. Went back for my master's. I graduated with 5.0. Wow. CGPA at the master's level in surveying, and I think that will be the first in the Department of Surveying, and still the only in that department to date. So with that, when they saw that, they said, no, Lola, you're not going anywhere. We're going to keep you here. So I became the first female lecturer in the Department of Surveying and Informatics of the Faculty of Engineering and the University of Lagos. And the first female to be awarded Slumberger Foundation Faculty for the Future for role models for the next generation. The first time to be awarded such in Nigeria, to study for a PhD in Lancaster University in the UK. So I did my PhD in the UK, and I thank God it went well. And I came back home to continue my job as a lecturer in the Department of Surveying and Geoinformatics. I just want to say that it's not easy. The first challenge I had as a woman in the beauty industry was in 1992. I'm a very social person, and I could relate because of the nature of where I came, my home, I'll be fine. Because of my background, I could relate with anybody. You know, growing up was fun with all the big family of 40 children, and so it was easy for me to relate very well. But the first challenge was in 1993 as an IT student in Warri. We were to go offshore, and my GM just called me and said, "You cannot go." And I said, "Why?" He said, "You are a female." I said, "But my male counterparts are going. Why?" He said, "You cannot go. Those men have not seen women in like 20 years. If they grab in like 6 months, they've been offshore. If they grab you as a woman, you are in for it. I cannot protect you." And that was it. I was barred from going offshore for almost 1 year plus that I worked in that place. And how do you do hydrographic surveying? You know, I just want to like put it across to all of us. The cadastral that we do in the profession, the one you have to work with, is just 5% of what we do. We do the survey from the air, underwater, and I'm interested in that underwater. If you do that of underwater and you are able to get all the floor, all the parameters right, we can model, we can prevent building collapse through flooding. You know, we have a lot of collapse because of water building and so even wetland mapping and all that. So the one we give you for it's just part of engineering survey. I'm advocating for that for BCPG, and then you try in the building industry, you leave surveyors out. You believe that the moment we give you that piece of paper or when it is laid out, to ask us to go and set back, that is any structure that you have that's more than 2 floors must be monitored for deformation. And it is only surveyors that have that capability, that expertise to do that. So I want us to put it on record that to prevent, it's not a building that does not just collapse one day. There would have been signs of stress, strain, failure. It's applicable to roads as well. So we need to appreciate as professional bodies the limits to what we do. When you are putting the board, you know, you leave surveyors out, so everybody believes the job ends as at the time we were able to do the setting out for you. It is beyond that. It's a cause on its own. It is a calling on its own. When you monitor, I want to my experience when we were Engineer Awobodu, sir, I didn't acknowledge you. Thanks so much for bringing me in 2012. So I've been part of BCPG since I think 2012. And when that synagogue building collapsed and we were to go there, I moved all instruments fully to that side. But it's rather unfortunate. You want to do survey, you want to know what happened, but do we have the base of what was approved? And nobody till today was penalized for that collapse. Has anybody been penalized? Even after everything, we lost over 105 lives in that collapse. Nothing was done. So I'm advocating as part of my own contribution to building collapse, that once a story, building is more than a floor, please let's start adding three-dimensional measurement to it. And it is only surveyors that can do that. And we are to prevent, not after. It saddened my heart that after people have died, that of Lagos, 21 floors and all that, we lost so many lives. The Abuja one, everywhere in the country, we are losing lives because we are not preventing. And I want to seize this opportunity. Please let's visit Ikori, Olale anytime. A lot of construction work going on there. I've tried to, look and see what they're doing. Some of them will put that. No, some don't even have that board. No signs, nothing on what is going on there. I've gone there, I've accused them because I live around there. But they will say, no, we are working this one way. No time schedule, nothing. Please, we just need to be more proactive on what we do. And àwọn bàbá wa tí mo fẹ́ kí gbogbo wa pé a kú ìjókòó látàárọ̀, Ọlọ́run á bá wa ṣe. And my chairman is here, the chairman, Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, Lagos State Branch. I think I saw him earlier. My women, yes, my coordinator, women in surveying, Lagos State, that's my constituency. And that is it. Well, there's something I want to ask on this gender bias. Please, I think mostly gender bias has to do with our cultural belief. Our cultural belief, but the world is changing. The world is changing, and so we need to change. It was at the Sandford party organized by Sobetayo Fifo, who happened to be a classmate, former Cell. Is it around?
Yes, it's Kosi. It's around.
Okay, Kosi.
Tayo.
Yes, Tayo, that organized with classmates, organized my Sandford party for me to go to UK for. And that was when my father said, I never knew you get here. I never believed. Look at them, my brothers, they say, look at their head. I never knew it was the catcher. So, and as a lecturer, I've been in academics for 22 years now. We have challenges of retaining our girl child after degree. Please let us find out the output that we have, and how many of them have now in the profession. We lose them. There was one that had first class. I encouraged her, and she got married and said, Auntie Lola, don't just even bring it. I am not coming back for surveying. I've gotten my certificate, and that is it. So how do we encourage them? I want to encourage us on our various platforms. Women in surveying, HAPWEN, women in architecture, women all over. I think our challenge is how do we retain our graduates in our profession and mentor them. Sarah Jibril came out as presidential candidate in 2015. I think I'm right. The only female, the woman. And to my surprise, you know how many candidates were there? There are women. She voted for herself. So we are deceiving ourselves as women. We want to one vote, only our own vote. No woman, even out of solidarity, or we are the one killing ourselves. We are more than men. Can we present our own candidate? If you want men to keep on advocating for us, we are deceiving ourselves. And it's high time we unite as women and remove that gender bias caused by the culture or our environment, and that is when we can have a say. SDG can be there. How many of these goals are they obeying? How many of the treaties are they obeying, even in Nigeria and other countries of the world? So I want to rest my case. Thank you for this.
We were there. We did a lot. The report was written. Nothing was done. And it pained me when that 21-story building came down. We went to old secretariats, and Barrister Komolafe, he's the judge, said that as if he was reading our mind. Said that, oh, don't think that the one that you did before, nothing happened. The government is still looking into it. And that was all. As long as we continue like that, we will continue to have the same problem. Because it's like a child does something and you are not able to punish that child, the child will continue. And the children coming behind will think that what that child has done is good and they copy it. And that is why we keep on having this problem. And what the government failed to realize is that this bill is a voluntary work. It's the members that contribute the little that they have to make sure that this thing goes on. So I am of that opinion that until people are punished, we will just keep on blowing grammar every day. And it doesn't make sense blowing grammar. It doesn't. And to my female professionals, I used to tell people, because when, as a QS, I was in that department for 21 years as the only female. Wow. When I became the head of the department, I employed 2 as LSOPC. And I keep on telling them, you don't look for money first. You seek for knowledge. It is when you have the knowledge, the money will come. Because if I give you a job and you are not able to do it properly, I won't come back. But if I give you a job and you are able to do it properly, I will advertise you. I will tell the people, oh, why can't you go to so? It's a very good quantity surveil. And there was a time we had this program on Zoom, and the ladies were saying that the men, they are abusing them. Then I asked them, how do you dress to the office? How do you dress to the office? You are the one that caused the abuse. The job given to you, did you do it as when due? You have to respect yourself before people respect you. Like other said, it's when they know that you have the knowledge, people will respect you. But when they know that you just have empty barrel, keep on coming to the office as if you are going to a party. You call yourself a professional, you are coming to the office, put on 5 earring, put on chain on your leg. Where are you going? What are you attracting? What is the message that you are sending to the female, to the male members? What message are you passing out? So we female, we have to look into this. Respect yourself, people will respect you. When you are going to the office, dress as if you are going to the office. If you are going to party, dress as if you are going to party. And people will respect you. And just like my other colleague said, men, they look down on you. I have a project at Ojokoro. The reinforcement was in place. They refused to put a sheep, as they normally call it. What they did when they come, they will climb, they will go. I was saying that, what is wrong with those people? This day when I was coming, I came in my jeans. And I went up. They said, hey, madam, how did you get here? I said, how did you get here? Oh, yeah, bring your tape. This person that was supposed to be 250, they were having 300. I said, I won't take this one. I won't take it. Else, I won't pay you. Read your drawing and see what's written there. And follow the drawing. I don't go into construction. I always go into consultants. And I always tell people, I don't have problem with you if you follow the bill of quantities. If you don't follow the bill of quantities, you are on your own. I won't pay you. And if one oga says pay, you have to put it in black and white. That you are the one that said they should pay. So to my female colleague, respect yourself. Know how to dress to the office. There is a difference between office and party. They are not the same thing. And when you are given a job, do that job at the right time and do it right. Don't come to the office as a lazy person. You now start giving excuses that they are abusing me, they don't do this one. No! Do what is right. Please, don't let the men say, Shebi is not even a woman's job before. They just did amebo. That is why they are not able to do it properly. No. Let's do the right thing. Let people have the belief that, oh, those women, ọpọlọ ni wọ́n. Please and please and please. And so our ogas, ẹ kú jókòó sà, ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ sà, ẹ kú fẹ́, Ọlọ́run á nífẹ̀ẹ́ yín. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí Ọlọ́run tẹ́ bá dé site, ẹ máa gbìyànjú láti máa fi etí sílẹ̀ sí nǹkan tí a bá sọ fún yín. Nǹkan tá à ń sọ fún yín kì í ṣe pé a kàn ń sọ. Wọ́n ti kọ́ wa pé tó bá fẹ́ kó kọnkéré, ó ní iye pálí, ó ní iye ṣẹ̀mọ̀ pé nígbà yìí máa lò headpan, ó ní iye headpan. Nígbà tí wọ́n ti sọ sínú description pé ó bu kò bú o, tó bá ti bu headpan ẹyọ kan o, wàá bu iyẹ̀pẹ̀ méjì o, wàá bu granite mẹ́rin. Wọ́n ṣe kọ́ sínú ìwé nìyẹn o. Awádé site àwọn yẹn wọ́n fi láti kọ́ máa waste sìmẹ́ǹtì. Ṣèbí ibà tí ń ṣe látijọ́ ẹni yẹn kò sí nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀, kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Lẹ́ṣẹ̀rí ẹ̀yin oní block, nǹkan tẹ̀mí notice problem ta ní nílùú yìí. A máa ń gbàgbé pé tí nǹkan burúkú bá ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ẹnìkan, ẹni tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí yẹn kò lè rọrẹ sí ẹni tó jẹ́ kó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí òun. Nígbà tí a dìde tó jẹ́ pé block tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀, ó ní bó ṣe ń fẹ̀ tó. Ká lọ ṣe mọ́ọ̀dì tí kò fẹ̀ tó nǹkan kan. Blọ́ọ̀kì kò fẹ̀ tó bó ṣe ń fẹ̀ tó tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀. Kò ga tó bó ṣe ń ga tó tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀. Ṣé ẹ̀kọ́ tí mo sọ yẹn lè ní àti gíga àti fífẹ̀ àti gbogbo ẹ̀? Kò sẹ́yìn tó bá ra wọn mú mọ́. Àti bá gbàgbé pé táburú bá ṣẹlẹ̀, ẹni tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí kò lè rọrẹ kàn wá o. Àwọn ẹni Yorùbá náà dẹ̀ lẹ́ni ìgbàgbọ́ pé àlùbáríkà lójú o. Kì í ṣe owó tá à ń wá yìí o. Àlùbáríkà ni. Sọ pé kí ilé má wò mọ́, iṣẹ́ gbogbo wa ni. Ẹni tó fẹ́ lọ ṣe pákó tẹ́ bá wo ilé tó ń kan ilé, ẹ̀ gbójú sókè, ẹ̀ rí pákó ọ̀tá tí mi kan lẹ̀ ó kọ̀run. Kì í ṣe fọ́túndọ̀ pa sínú kan lẹ̀ ó kọ̀run nìkan o. Wọ́n àtún ní kùn. Báwa ṣe mọ̀ bá ṣe ń ṣe pákó nígbà táwa ń ṣiṣẹ́, wọ́n á ra solid náà. Wọ́n á kùn nílẹ̀ kó tó kó gùnkè. Wọ́n nísìnyí, wọ́n ní ẹ torí pé igi ògbó, fine igi ògbó, ǹjẹ́ ìkan tún ṣe nǹkan tó yẹ ká ṣe fún igi ọ̀hún? Wọ́n wá kanlé, kò sí ìnípọ́dún méjì mẹ́ta, gbogbo òkè ti jẹ. Wọ́n tún wá sọ̀kalẹ̀, wọ́n tún tún kàn. Kì í ṣe nǹkan tó dáa. Ṣé mọ̀, ká máa ń sọ ìjọba gbogbo wa níjọba. Oníkálukú ló ní nǹkan tí ó ń ṣe ní ibi tó wà tó lè jẹ́ kí ìlú yìí dà. Sí èmi tí mo jẹ́ block molder, tí mo wá ṣe block tó dáa, tí mo mọ̀ pé òkè o pálí sìmẹ́ǹtì yìí rèé o, tí máa yọ iye blọ́ọ̀kì báyìí, á jẹ́ kí blọ́ọ̀kì yìí dá dáadáa tí mo ṣe. Sí bíríkìlà débẹ̀ tó ti sọ fún pé kò burú o, tó bá fẹ́ bu sìmẹ́ǹtì má bù ju iye báyìí tó bù. Ṣé ìgbà tí mo sọ yẹn, tí gbogbo wa ta tẹ̀lé nǹkan tó yẹ ká ṣe, ilé ọ̀nì wó, tí ilé ọ̀bá wó, inú àwọn èèyàn á dùn, kò ní dá ká máa bá àwọn èèyàn nínú jẹ́, kò sẹ́ni tó máa ṣòfò alẹ́ nínú gbogbo wa. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ wo àárín yẹn dáadáa, ẹ má jẹ́ ká máa ro owó dá kì í ṣe pé kò dá, but owó tí ìyàn ní tó jẹ́ pé inú ẹ̀jẹ̀ ló ti wá, ìyẹn ò kì í ṣowó mọ́. So ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ẹ má máa rò pé tí àwọn obìnrin bá ti dé site, kí ni ó fẹ́ sọ, ṣèlú mo nírú ẹ̀ ń lé, ṣèlú yes onírú ẹ̀ ń lé, kò sẹ́ni tó ń sọ pé kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Àwa náà ká bá délé a máa kúnlẹ̀ fáwọn ọkọ wa ni. Ṣé alẹ́ mi tí mo dúró ìtọ́kọ mi bá fẹ́ jẹun, orí ìkúnlẹ̀ mi máa fi wà kó fi máa jó oúnjẹ yẹn tán. So a sì mọ̀ pé ẹ̀yin ni baálé wa, ẹ̀yin ládé orí wa. Wọ́n ṣe ní kábà sí ní site, ṣé ní gbogbo adé orí yẹn, ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kan. Iṣẹ́ ta fẹ́ ṣe yẹn, ẹ jẹ́ ká fèsì ẹ̀. Ká lè gbọ́ nǹkan tí ẹni tó ń supervise wa tó ń sọ. because nǹkan tó kọ́ ni nǹkan tó dẹ̀ mọ̀ ni so ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí Ọlọ́run so that pẹ̀lú àṣẹ Ọlọ́run àní máa sọ pé ilé wó àní rábùrú o ilé ò ní wó pa wá o ẹ ṣe kúfẹ́ tẹ wá o thank you very much.
Our program. I mean, I've been to a lot of programs by our institute, and we do communicate, and it all ends up on the shelves somewhere. And this particular thing we are talking about involves lives, and I think we need to be more intentional about what we want to do as a fallout from this gathering. What exactly do we want to do? And I still want to encourage us that we need to go with SON, Standard Organization of Nigeria. Let the female organizations of our institutions, let us take that as our program or as our project. Let's take it, let's come together and say, okay, as the female wing of the national bodies, this is what we are going to follow. We will follow SON, we will look at all the building materials that we use and ensure that they are properly done. So our young ladies, it's hard work. There is no gainsaying. It is hard work, hard work, hard work. I used to stay in the office till 11. In fact, the security will come and knock on my window and say, Mama, it's lovely money. When I was talking with Governor Mudashiru, we were doing classroom, and he says because the construction cost was very low, he says when a contractor comes and says, I'm due for payment, he wants that payment done within 1 month. So before I go home, there's a tray specifically for payments. That tray must be emptied. So it's hard work. You have to work hard. If you work hard with prayers, God that sees that you work hard will ensure your promotion. Even if your male colleagues complain and undermine whatever you're doing, as long as you are working hard and there's integrity with what you are doing, you will overcome. So I encourage us, work hard, work hard, work hard.
Like Secretary said, I follow suit. But in addition, we need to build our teamwork among ourselves. We have not been able to achieve that. The reason is like we are so self-conscious, self-sufficient, selfishness. I don't think what I can call it when it comes to the respective professionals, the way the superiority that we don't need to contest for. We don't pass through schools. Before said it here. Passing through school, holding my certificate, performing my defense. And each and everybody, we don't have the laws that's guiding us. So that brings me to the Council of Registered Leaders of Nigeria, who has the right to control the practice of building profession in all ramifications anywhere in Nigeria. I've been a vice chairman of that level. Because you know when you are vice, they say I'm vice and say I'm third. What makes you from getting to that top is part of what you have said here. The men, they will gang up. I was a vice president, third vice, only to move up. One of the ladies has to follow the men to campaign against him. Yes, it happens in a movie. Then, that's by the way, where God will land you there. Blessing the front. Architect Ejimumi, President NIA, has only been the lady in great environment to be the president of any of the organizations. Let us look at that. We are capable. We can achieve it. We are here. We are there. Some people have a better visa than those of us that were here now. And they are here today. We will keep on mentoring and encouraging ourselves. But we all need your own encouragement. We need the encouragement of the government. We need that of our peer colleagues, the male counterparts. We need your support. If you see that there is a potential in a woman, please give that woman the strength. It tends to learn more and more and more. So, please, that brings me up to back to the teamwork. It has to be in one of our communities. I have my job, working on the field. As I am, I still go, I still climb, I still come down to ensure the right thing is true. Even as a consultant builder, you can't expect me to, even if I sit in the office and ask those working with me to do that, I still have to verify some things. If you are in doubt, you get there by yourself. Like my friend said, you always take you always take a table and ensure that you have done the right thing. Please, let's take our processes and procedures into consideration and let us ensure that we achieve the task accordingly. We don't want buildings to be dilapidating, and we don't want buildings to be collapsing, and we don't want unnecessary alterations of buildings that are very, very common, especially in the Lagos environment. This place is viable now, residential building. We start to convert it. We are converting industries into some other things. So many conversions, alterations, and all these ones are not healthy enough for the development of our streets. You are creating more problems for the government than they can take you. And to our government, masses, you need to still look at our building code. We need your legislation. We need perfection of some documents. We need you to establish a law that distinctively says this is what and what and what and what. And anybody that violates it has to pay for it. We came back to the issue of collapsing who and who. The issue of bad man is Nigeria. Actually, it must come to pass. People will commit crime and they go scot-free. That era, I believe, is going or is gone. Sir, Honorable Secretary, is it gone, sir? Am I having your? Yes. Is it gone? He said it's gone. Everybody fasten your belts, tighten it, do a good work, and let us live a good life, a good environment for us to be happy and live well. Thank you very much.
I haven't worked for 32 years in Lagos, given the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, what exactly am I doing? So first and foremost, I'm not giving excuses, even though I'm out of government. I once the special advisor works on infrastructure. Lagosians do not understand whether something is a federal road project or a state road project. That project is a federal road project. But I'll say something. In any climate, it's good to always work with international best practices in consideration. The contractor, and I say this, everybody who knows me must stand for something. Everybody who knows me will tell you that I say it the way it is. The contractor ought to have provided alternative routes for the period. It ought to have been embedded in the contract. However, in the event that you do not have it and the contractor is working with rates as old as 10 years and they are not reviewing and the government is not ready to review, then we have issues. So it's a balance. You have to understand that the project has been abandoned, resuscitated, abandoned. We had a lot of legal tussle over it during the days of Obalaki. We all know what it is. So I would say that contract didn't run like the way it's supposed to run contractually. And so it's like managing what you have. In the midst of a bad situation, that's exactly what we have. Ideally, an extra lane not have been provided. The entry into Magodo, into Opik, Arepo, there needed to have been a route, a back route. But in the event that you're exhausted, so your extension of time, a job of 3 years suddenly becomes 10 years, and you're not ready to review rates. And so that's where the issue is. And for me, even for the contractor, it results in brand it's like you want to derepresentalize yourself. Because if you are known for doing good job, and all of a sudden you have one particular job that is not making you look good in the eye of the nation, it's something that you ought to look into. But you cannot blame them totally because of the circumstances that is embedded in the contract. But that's exactly what it is. It is what it is, and that's what we manage. So I think that answers that question. So the next question, somebody asked you about to say, how can we eradicate the collapse building in Lagos State? I will say this on the part of government. It's something that, particularly Mr. Governor, he feels pain anytime there's a building collapse. Lagos is one place where you never sleep. People tell me, and I think Madam Lola said it now, that Madam, you look rested, you look like somebody who is really at heartbreak. Because when you're on that seat is hot. You really do not have time for yourself. It is not government, it is we as individuals. Every man, every woman who has been placed in the position of public office, if you do not walk with the fear of God, I repeat, if you do not walk with the fear of God, you will continue to have this building collapse. Because the person who knows that these are the approvals, if you have decided to look back or close your eyes to infractions, when you know that one day this thing is going to result in this collapse, building collapse will continue to happen. And when there are no consequences for actions of people, we will continue to have this. We've said it, but as a government, we are deliberate, we are intentional. And so what government is trying to do now is we know that we are challenged in some areas. And so that's why the Ministry of Physical Planning, we designed the certified accredited program that we have designed to be able to take the state certification, who can supervise a building. You cannot be a developer, you are developer A. You are also the MEP services consultant A. You are also the structural engineer A. Everything is all you. That era is gone. It's gone, and that's what that CAP program aims to address. The issue of the National Building Code, we have tried to domesticate, and I'm sure Honorable Setonji is here. Also the harmonization between Ministry of Works and then physical planning as well. Where the overlaps are, I think it's something that we have resolved. We've come to the assembly, and I think we have actually, between Commissioner for Physical Planning and myself, we have actually itemized to say these are the areas of overlap. When we have this done and looked into, these things should be resolved. Not just even physical planning, even ODS, also very services. The same thing now, it's not just building collapse, even general infrastructure collapse. I tell people, a road is as good as its drain. This contractor is not good, they have done a road that is bad. Most times, for the last 4 years, where we have established the standard operating procedures, you know exactly how to build a road, what you must do. The problem is we as a people. If I design a road with the alphas all in place, if roads run off from the roadway are supposed to go into the drain, where the runoff from the roadway cannot go into the drain because people have decided that drain is a dustbin. Because once the water from the drain comes back on the roadway with asphalt, it will deteriorate because the water in the drain is not just water in the drain. You see a lot of people, they are sock away pits. They actually discharge them in the drain. So those drains are acting as conduits for fecal solids waste. It's acidic, it goes on the roadway, and of course it undermines the road. Àmọ́ nǹkan tá à ń fi ọwọ́ ara wa fà. Tọ́mọ sọ pé kẹ́ gbé sọ́kàwé gbogbo máa gbẹ sínú gọ́tà. Omi lè máa gbọ́n ní gbogbo ìgbà, mi lè máa kó ní gbogbo ìgbà. Jẹ́ kí n sọ síbẹ̀. That drain becomes, that water there becomes acidic. It doesn't flow, and then people àgbàdo that's been mi ò lówó tí ma sọ fún nọ́mbà ẹ̀jẹ̀ ìdásílẹ̀. Tó bá di tí ò lè lọ, omi àgbàrá òjò tó ń bọ̀. Omi acid tó wà ní gọ́tà yẹn tó bá ti lè bọ́ sílẹ̀ pẹ̀lú asphalt ó máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ tó bá ti lè bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣí díẹ̀ tó bá ti wọnú bèzè road ti fail. If you do a road and you design a road well, it will last you minimum 30-40 years. I'm always proud when I go on some roads. I own a road in Ikoyi. That's a road that I've done since 2001, 22 years ago. The last 1 week that you have seen that road disintegrate is because when you go to the outfall there, you will see all of the drains and the thing that is now filled up and coming back to the roadway. The same also on the road. And several other areas. Once you follow standard operating procedures, you do your laboratory controls, your infrastructure that you have designed, the same way that you build a house. If you follow all of your design, what has been designed, it should last you. Kò sí kan tá à ń wá tá à ní rí. Ẹ jẹ́ ká máa níbẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run bá wa ṣe ń ṣe nǹkan. Ẹni tó mọ block ẹ mọ pẹ̀lú correct kan tó sọ fún yín block tó bá sọ bá bá báyìí ẹ kó ní. Ẹ jẹ́ kẹ́ máa ní oṣù tí ìgbà tí ìlú ọgbọ́n ẹ̀ kí lè rérè kó dáa. Ẹ ṣe gan ni o.
I've said to you that I've done both private sector and government. I want to say in Edo State, we consciously, as part of our policy, engage 50% of women, even in governance. In our cabinet, I think we're the only cabinet in Nigeria that has, yes, the number of women represented. In the ESCO,
yes,
how many?
We have 12 women in the cabinet, more than 35%.
Ours is 50%.
No, what I'm talking is specifically cabinet. I'm not talking of agency.
No, I'm talking about cabinet. I'm talking about cabinet. Yes. It's a conscious thing you do. Even now, like our first one, we talked about getting involved. I want to say to us that as professionals, when it gets to policy, it is politics. And if you don't get involved, you cannot complain. So please, I want to speak to women particularly. We need to start playing the politics. It is very important. Because when these decisions are made by the men, we are never there. And we are expected to implement them. And most policies made in Nigeria, unfortunately, the failure is couched in it from day one. So please, I want to beg, in my state, I'm not just a commissioner. I go down to my units, to my local government, to my community, and I bring their issues. So even here, we have to make sure that everybody is responsible. We have the 4 S's in Edo. See something, say something. You are coming from your house to work. You see things. Building collapse is not just for the guild. It's for all of us. If you see something going wrong, say something. Say something. Let us be responsible. If we are responsible and people know that we are going to complain, there is now technology, there is social media, there are a lot of things that were not there when we started. I remember in Edo, somebody's built on a road. It was social media, I saw it. And it was a Sunday we went there. And it put confidence in the system. When people know you're going to report, and then when you report, something is done about it, they are more encouraged to do something. Please let us stick to procedures. Let's see something, let's say something. And continue to improve yourself, especially women. You need to continue to improve yourself. Get information, get training, mentor somebody, lift somebody up. And there is no need to compete. At the top there is space. It's at the bottom that there's no space. I have never seen the sky with 50 million birds and they started falling down. I've never seen it. It's here. So reach out, separate yourself and come up and there'll be space. I went to Russia. They had 400 billionaires in one town. He did not kill anybody. He made the place better.
400?
Yes. They have 400 billionaires in Moscow. In dollars. And he didn't hurt anybody. So if we strive for excellence and separate ourselves, with God helping you, you will do well. You will excel and you will be known for good. Please remember we are all responsible. If a building collapses, everybody who touched that building, directly and indirectly, is responsible.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
About the gender aspect of it, we have been celebrated today, and I'm sure that it's because people have put extra hard work to it. And even though the issue of gender bias is real, by the time we are able to show that we can do it as women, I don't think any man can stop us. Briefly, when I emerged as the advert for Federal School of Surveying, and they said it was an open advert, and 9 people responded, and 1 female, 8 men. The first screening, I came first. At the interview, I came first.
And the chairman of the council then was interested in someone else. In fact, they've gotten letter from KBC that they want another person, also from the town. And at the end of the day, Alaafin had to write back and say, I heard that the lady that got 86% is from this town, and she's also a daughter of the soil. So I align with your opinion on erudite scholarship and academic excellence. And that was it, I got the job. And this is the 5th year of being the rector of that school. So it's my belief with extra hard work, we'll get there. We need to do extra work, like multitasking, before we can get there, so that we can have a work-life balance. And that is it. And also to encourage other women. I put my feet down, because as at the time I resumed as director, I'm a member of the governing council, and I was the only female. Today, I can boast of 4 females in the council, governing council of Federal School of Surveying. So we need to do it. We need to mentor and we need to encourage. On the part of Building Collapse Prevention Guild, I think we need advocacy. We need that public awareness. If we don't carry all along, then there may be problem. We cannot do it alone. We need to involve and engage others. And like I said before, women, let's be proactive about it, right from our own women aspect. So we can come up with women as wing of the Building Collapse and support our men. I'll put it that way, support our men, so that they can also support us. Thank you so much.
Secondary school, I happened to be a science student. From there, I went for my A-levels. And when I was having my A-levels, I had the intention of being a pharmacist. And I have maybe I would say a bad notion or something, that I can easily get admitted into Ahmadu Bello University. And each time I keep on saying Ahmadu Bello, Ahmadu Bello. So 2-3 years I wasn't given that admission. Then my sister-in-law went for survey in Oyo. So I now applied for survey. When I went for the interview, the man said, how do you come about this? I said, my sister-in-law is one. He said, no, don't go into land survey. Why can't you come into pond surveying? I said, I've never heard about it before, and I don't know anything about it. He said, don't worry, if you call me, you will really enjoy it. And to be honest with you, I really did. Although when we started, we were just 3 females in the class, and typical of the men, as usual, they know how to do their own thing. But me, people that are used to me, they know me say, with men, I don't have problem because I will put you in your right position. Yes, that is me. When I was doing my professional exam, the man who achieved in the same room together said, you can never pass. You can't pass. Because today, I'm taking my child to the hospital. Tomorrow, I'm picking my child in the clinic. Tomorrow, clinic. You won't pass, so. And you know God, this God is a merciful God. When the result came, he was the one in the office that told me that the result came and you passed. And you know, say me, I have sharp mouth. So with my sharp mouth now, I say, don't do it, teacher. Because you always tell me that you can't pass. Because you always say, and it's true, like other colleagues have rightly said, it is very, very important for us to take care of our children. You know, this house at times they can really disappoint you. I have a baby there, very troublesome. I will back that boy and I will drive. I don't have a driver. And unfortunately for me, my husband is always on transfer. So I happen to be a single mother with 4 children. But with that, and that is why today, if you get to my house, you will see water on my gas. Because I will come late, because I live in a village, and my children go to Grace Children's School, Bagada. From Bagada to Egbe. And the roads were very bad then. So immediately I get home, 10 o'clock, I'm in the kitchen, wash my plate, put water in the kettle. Get up in the morning, everybody, when you are having your bath, I'm in the kitchen. And by the time we finish the small one, I will back because I know the boy will make problem. So in order for him not to disturb my life, I will back him, relax my seat, and drive. That is how we go to Bagada. Yes, it's a matter of determination. So there's no excuse for anybody, to be honest with ourselves. The most important thing is, this is what I want to do, and you stand by it. I'm sure, God being on our side, everything will work well. So, like they have rightly said, I think it's better for we women to support ourselves. I keep on telling Nigerians of quantities of milk. I happen to be their treasurer, the only female treasurer. Ever since then, none of the female ever bothered. Or maybe because of what I did, because then I was the treasurer. There was crisis, I was not enjoying it, and I resigned. And they said, madam, I said yes. Because I'm not satisfied with what you are doing. When I was taking up the job, I said it's going to be to God's glory and benefit of mankind. Anything short of that, forget about it. Anything besides to the glory of God and benefit of mankind, forget about it. I'm not interested.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much.
We all have enjoyed this day. This gathering has been so educative, it's been interesting, and it's been really encouraging. If you agree with me, can we please clap for the organizer? Right. I bring apologies from the MHR. She was supposed to be here. In fact, I personally booked a ticket for this morning. She was going to be here, basically because of the Amazons. She's somebody who loves women and she encourages women as well. In fact, our profiles actually align with this day. She is a she for she woman. In fact, she's the only female House of Representative member from Lagos State, representing Lagos State in Abuja. She's the secretary for all the reps in Lagos as well. I also am in the public service. My portfolio is of women affairs and poverty alleviation, and I'm here just to represent her. It was not intentional, so I'm actually in the very right place. I'm somebody who also promotes women and always wants the best for the women food. Sorry about that, man. We love you too, but please give us our position. So I bring apologies that she couldn't make it, and I hope I have represented her well. Our words are that the Amazons should keep the positive and quality representation intact while educating and encouraging more women into the fold. And for the BCPG, I think you're doing a very wonderful job. May God continue to help us and prevent collapse for us as well. I think that is about it. Then I would also just have that the girl child is quite important. And of course, it's the girl child that will grow to become the woman that we are all looking forward to. I appreciate everyone that has spoken here. I give God the glory for your lives. You are all women that we look up to. I'm happy to share this day with you. We are proud of you all. And may God continue to bless you and keep you for us. And please, let us all encourage the girl child. And for the men, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ torí Ọlọ́run, ẹ jẹ́ káwa obìnrin yẹn fún wa láyè. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, àwa ló kàn, ẹ jẹ́ káwa náà ṣe rere. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
This award of excellence presented by Building Collapse Prevention Guild to Estate Surveyor, our Honorable Commissioner, Isuke Omo, ANIBS. At the seminar, Building Collapse Prevention, Women in the Building Industry, Making a Difference. In recognition of your outstanding contribution to the built environment, your dedication and commitment have been exemplary. We celebrate you. Congratulations. Yeah. The Award of Excellence presented by Building Collapse Prevention Guild to Architect Olubukola Ijiwunmi, Fellow NIA, and the first female president of NIA. At the seminar on Building Collapse Prevention, Women in the Building Industry Making a Difference, in recognition of your outstanding contribution to the built environment. Your dedication and commitment have been exemplary. We celebrate you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Presented by Building Collapse Prevention Guild to Surveyor Nihilola Olayinka Dosunmu, PhD, FNIS. At the seminar, Building Collapse Prevention, Women in Building Industry Making a Difference, in recognition of your outstanding contribution to the built environment. Your dedication and commitment have been exemplary. We celebrate you and congratulations.
Okay. Hello, ma'am. Hold on. Okay.
Presented by Building Collapse Prevention Guild to Builder Iyabode Bolariwa, Fellow NIOB. To Builder Iyabode Bolariwa, Fellow FNIOB. At the seminar, Building Collapse Prevention, Women in Building Industry Making a Difference, in recognition of your outstanding contribution to the built environment. Your dedication and commitment have been exemplary. We celebrate you, man. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Award of Excellence presented by Building Collapse Prevention Guild to Engineer Aramide Adeyoye, FNSE, FNICE. At the seminar, Building Collapse Prevention, Women in the Building Industry Making a Difference. In your recognition of your outstanding contribution to the built environment, your dedication and commitment have been exemplary, man. We celebrate you today and always. Congratulations. Prevention Guild to Town Planner Catherine Kehinde George, Fellow NITP. Town Planner Catherine Kehinde George. At the seminar, Building Collapse Prevention, Women in the Building Industry Making a Difference. In recognition of your outstanding contribution to the built environment, your dedication and commitment have been exemplary. We celebrate you. Congratulations.
Event AC. This event is being broadcast all over the world. It's going to be on social media all over. We would like Now, I want to ask you, from the assessment of these women, were they the right women to have been chosen for this or not? Were they? It took a lot of nights, exchange of ideas, consultations with presence of professional bodies with their chairman and so many of them with the leaders. So they came on merit. Let me give them. Thank you very much. We have all learned a lot from you today. And I thank my God that I was able to make this event. Thank you very much. And thank you for your patience. The full day well spent. Of the building collapse prevention day that I was a president some time ago, and also Nigeria Institute of Building in a way, and the built environment professional bodies in general. Happily, gladly, I'm presenting this award to our erudite Amazon in the name of Honorable Dr. Kafilat Adetola Obara for being here as the chief host of this program. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So Mr. Obasa, the speaker, Honorable Obasa, was this. You are a silent achiever. These regulations, physical planning permit regulations, building control regulations, these passed through the readings and was finally passed before it became the law. As a result of that, we collectively thought it should be honored at this program. So we are excited, and on behalf of this organization, I hereby present this award to you, our Speaker, Lagos State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Dr. Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa. Congratulations. I hereby present this plaque to you to recognize your efforts within this local government in the prevention of building collapse. Congratulations.
Okay.
Of the Speaker of Lagos State House of Assembly and the representative of the Chief Host, Madam Obara, we want to appreciate you. We want to appreciate Lafarge. They have really supported us, and the people come in large number, giving us presentation, telling us the right way to mix concrete on site. We thank you, Lafarge. We also want to appreciate the presence of Dangote. We know Dangote as representative here. We are grateful. We are looking forward to Dangote supporting us in the nearest event. People have really stayed very long and they really have a patience here today. We are so happy. We pray that building collapse will become a thing of the past. We are joyful that all the 7 built environment professionals can come together because there is joy in unity, and we know that we will go places if we keep up the momentum. Thank you once again, and wish everybody Johnny Masses back home in Jesus' name. Thank you.